It's the Wakefied 300, the start of the National Endurance Championship, and I'm joined by the man who knows everything Wakefied 300, Lockie Mansell. Lockie, what have we got in store today?
G'day, Andrew. Great to be here. We're set for two action-packed races. Once again, we've received so many entries that we've had to split the field up into the B race for the slower cars, which is coming up very shortly, and then the main race for the outright cars this afternoon. So, massive variety of different types of cars and a wide open field. It's very difficult to predict who's going to win it.
So the B race about to start. Who's your tip for that title?
Well, some of the Mazda MX5 is very strong. I think David and Rob Viner are going very, very quick. Tony Ross and Paul Chapman are starting on pole, but the little Peugeot 205 GTI of Parry Anastakis and Brett Waters has been quick so far this weekend as well.
Fantastic car, the Peugeot GTI. Had one myself as a kid. That's your tip for the B race?
Yeah, I'm going to tip them to take the win.
Now, talking of A race, defending endurance champions at the back of the grid in the A race. Tell me about that.
Yeah, Mark McKay and Justin Rougier had some mechanical problems in qualifying, so they'll start rear of field for the main race this afternoon, but they'll charge on through. But up at the front, the times are very tight. You've got Nick Cansey, a former winner of the Winton 300, starting on pole position. You've got some very quick Lotuses in the top five as well. David Radatz and Shane Otten are always strong here, and you can't count out the future races of Nathan Jess and Matthew Thompson and Chad Cotton and Jace Collins.
I was going to touch on Nathan Jess, and a very emotional winner of the Winton 300 late last year.
Yeah, and it was a dramatic win too, where it came right down to the very last lap of the race. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a similar sort of blockbuster finish today.
And finally, the weather. There's predicted to be a change, 3 o'clock, possible thunderstorm.
Yeah, and that could really throw a spanner into the works. What you have to remember is that these teams are not equipped to do V8 supercar style 5-second wheel changes, so if there is the necessity to change onto wet weather tyres, it could make it very interesting.
Wakefied 300, sum it up for me in a few words.
Epic, enthralling endurance racing.
Well, you get your commentary position. We're in for an awesome day. Guys, let's get to the racing.
So getting set now, for those of you who are tuning in on the live stream, the field is so big that we have to split it up into two races. We've got the B main coming up in a couple of minutes' time for the slower cars, and then the main race bit later on this afternoon for the outright cars. The B main will be conducted over 127 laps, which is 279.4 kilometres. The pit window is between laps 21 and 116. Everybody in the field is required to make a compulsory 5-minute pit stop for refuelling. Maximum driving distance is 88 laps per driver. So we'll see pit stops from about lap 39 onwards, and that'll be about the time that I head down into the pit lane to do my pit reporting stint as well. Not too far away now. Looks like we've got the bulk of the field on the starting grid. And this will be a pretty interesting race in its own right. Obviously, the main attention is focused on the race for the outright cars this afternoon. But what we saw last year when we had the B main race for both Wakefield Park and Winton is that the B race could be equally entertaining. Who will forget the Winton 300 last year, where we saw a number of league changes between Nick Leon Sinnis and Terry Nightingale in the opening stint. Could be set for something similar today, as we have a look at the grid positions for the cars. And we've got Tony Ross and Paul Chapman, the Mazda MX5, starting on pole position. Grid position number 2 is occupied by Parry Anastakis and Brett Waters, the Peugeot 205 GTI. Tony Ross and Brett Waters will take the start in their cars. VX Commodore V8 of Michael Wedge and Peter Batteram goes from grid position number 3. And then the father and son team of David and Rob Viner, the Targa Racing at Mazda MX5, the defending modern sports car champions, go from grid position 4. Mike Fitzgerald and Rod Chivers, the Honda Civic, out of grid position number 5. The father and son team of Andy and Russell Harris from grid position number 6. In a Triumph TR7, it's John Newell and local Golden driver Glenn Coutinho. They'll occupy grid position number 7 out of 8. That's Glenn and his brother Rod Potter, the BMW E30 325i. Mark and Reese Morcillo, another father and son team, in a Triumph Dolomite lineup in grid position number 9. And position 10, the Tabard Motorsport, it's Adam Rogg and Peter Green Jr., with Peter Green Jr. to take the race start. Elliot Wright and Greg Morcillo will go for position 11 in another Triumph. And we've got a yellow flag being waved and a delayed start situation, Zach, because we've got problems with the number 27 car, which is the John Newell and Glenn Coutinho Triumph TR7.
Well, there you go. Already the drama has started. Lockie, continue going through the grid, please.
So Elliot Wright and Greg Morcillo will line up out of grid position 11. Roland Rurl and Ross Wood in the Mazda RX-7 out of 12th position. Peter and Robin Lacey, some dramas for them in qualifying yesterday with a broken throttle cable. Look for them to move forward from grid position number 13. David Shaw and Brad Goss in the Ford EV Falcon lineup out of 14th on the grid. Paul Shacklady and Anthony Carter, the Targa Racing Mazda MX5, out of 15th. Then it's the Peter Conroy Motorsport Honda Integra Type R. Jack Phelan from the New South Wales Production Sports Car Series, and Nick Spartan Callis, the Time Attack competitor. They will start out of position 16. Position number 17 is occupied by the Toyota 86 of David Bailey and Matt Shyman. 18th position on the grid in the Proton Satry GTI, Shane Tanner and Ben Johnson. 19th position, Tim and Christy Herring in the Mazda MX5, and 20th on the grid. First of the Hyundai XLs for David Williams and his son Scott Williams. 21st on the grid, Andrew Walker and David Loyacono. 22nd on the grid, it's Adam Dodd and Tony Bonanno in the ex-Australian Grand Prix Celebrity Challenge Mazda 6 Diesel. 23rd position, Jonathan Lawson and Cameron McGee in the Ford AU Falcon XR6. 24th, Valvoline Australia Hyundai XL of Ian Kegg and Mark Nottage. And rounding out the 25-car field for the Wakefield 300B main is Rod State, Jason Humble, the Pinnacle Automotive BMW 328i. And the number 27 car has been given a push start, the Triumph TR7, so it will be allowed to go around and form up for what will be a double file rolling start to get us underway here for the B main, the Valvoline Wakefield 300. Good morning to you, Zach Caven, and welcome once again to everybody tuning in right around the world on motorsportstv.com.au.
Yeah, good morning, Lockie. Good morning, everyone. Always a privilege to call these races. We're very lucky that we get such a great audience for these. And if you are listening in, feel free to hashtag WP300, capital W, capital P, and also follow the Wakefield Park Facebook page, because we've got people doing social media work for us this week, and also the Facebook pages for the Australian Endurance Championship and the Wakefield Park Circuit. Lights out on the safety car. Lockie, I know it's always the most difficult one to tip, but who would you back?
Well, on the live stream when I was being interviewed by Andrew Rawls down in the marshalling area just before the start of the race, I put my money on Parry Anastakis and Brett Waters, and I'm going to stick with that. They have been there or thereabouts all weekend, and Parry Anastakis was pretty quick when he ran that car at a Super TT race meeting at the Formula V 50th anniversary racing event that we had here a fortnight ago. So Peugeot 205 for the win, Zach Caven.
All right, fantastic. I think I might agree with you on that one. It's very rare that we do that up in the comment box. Getting ready to go, folks. 127 laps, 279.4 kilometres. The B-main, the second one ever, is set to go.
So out of turn 10 they come. They're lined up in side-by-side grid formation. We cast our eye to the start-finish line. The red light, the green flag. That'll be the indication that we're ready to go racing. And it's MX5 versus Peugeot 205 GTI off the front row of the grid as we get set for the 2015 Australian Endurance Championship. And it's a very good start off the front row from Tony Ross in the MX5. Peter Batterum in the Commodore goes down the inside of Brett Waters as well. Waters trying to hang out on the outside. Everybody obviously trying to give each other plenty of room into turns 1 and 2. It's a long race. No need to be battling too hard or too aggressively for track position too early on, as we still see that Brett Waters is side by side with Peter Batterum. Batterum's made that move, and in fact Waters has now got David Viner looking down his inside, but chops across the front. Holds on to position 3.
That Viner car was very quick in the morning warm-up this morning as well, Lockie, so we'll have to be very watchful of that car as they make their way into the fishhook for the first time. And it's Tony Ross who made a brilliant start, leading the way by about a second at the moment. He's absolutely smashed the pack off the start. Viner has got past Anastakis' car with, of course, Waters at the wheel, but they're now side by side on their run down towards turn 10, and here on the inside was coming Fitzgerald, but that didn't work for him. Round the back corner they go, back to the main straight, run down 126 to go. The AEC is up and away for 15.
And Brent Waters back down the inside of David Viner as they come down the main straightaway. Mike Fitzgerald maintaining a watching brief there in the Honda Civic, and Mark Morcillo gets down on the inside of a couple of cars in the Triumph Dolomite as well as they head down the main straightaway. And a very good start too from Robin Lacey. Started out in grid position 13, she's already up to 11, so she's made up 2 spots on the opening lap. Watch out as well for the number 27 car, which we saw pushed off the grid at the start. It had to start right at the rear of the field with John Newell at the wheel, but he's making rapid progress now. They've got that car going, and we've got a car off. That is the Glenn and Rod Potter car, the number 66 BMW E30 with Glenn Potter at the wheel, off the road at turn number 3.
But thankfully able to resume, Lockie, but right towards the back of the field. Can you believe that? That BMW was looking pretty good in the warm-up this morning as well.
So the big question is, did he get some assistance, or did he do that on his own? He was in a pretty tight bunch of cars, which also involved Mike Fitzgerald.
Viner down on the inside to third.
Oh, and taking advantage of Fitzgerald.
Yep. Took Fitzgerald with him, so nicely done there. Russell and Andy Harris in behind one of the other cars further back there as well. I think it's the Harris entry that's behind Morcillo. They're 3 wide on the straight here. Have a look at this. Waters up to third. Fitzgerald shafted back to 5th, then Morcillo. Then you go back to Peter Green Jr., who's that car that I was trying to locate in between Andy Harris and Morcillo. So Russell and Andy Harris, that car started all right. They're up in 8th spot. What a race we got so far. Ross and Chapman the leader, but look at Batterum, I should say. He's actually closed the margin to Ross, and the fastest man the last time by was Fitzgerald with a 113.41. Viner back to 4th at the moment as they come into the infield. What a race we've got already, and it's only 3rd lap. These guys are treating it like a 127-lap sprint race. Hell for leather, straight from the word go, as they make their way out of turn 8 up towards turn 9. Ross leads. And then, of course, Batterum in 2nd spot. Viner, now they're looking down on the inside of Waters. This is the battle for 3rd. Watch who's got the better brakes. It's Waters. He will hold on the outside, come back to the main straight. Viner sits there 4th. And, of course, Fitzgerald in 5th spot. A ding-dong battle between those three, shaping up in the early stages of the Valvoline 300.
We always say that it's an endurance race and it's about buying a ticket to the last 20 laps. There's no point sprinting too hard too early, but many things to go by so far in this race. As soon as the lights go out, the helmet goes on, the red mist descends, the drivers treat it just like a sprint race. As we see that Peter Batteram was the fastest man on the circuit that time around. A minute 12.8, 3/10 of a second now, separating our two race leaders as Tony Ross starts to come under pressure.
Should point out as well, for those of you that are tuning in on the live stream, thank you so much for your company wherever you are on a Saturday night or Sunday morning, depending upon your corner of the world. We had an online drivers briefing earlier in the week, and that was jokingly asked if Lachlan Mansell would be selling those tickets to the last 20 laps up and down the pit lane on Saturday afternoon. I can tell you that he was down pit lane this morning, but no one approached him. So no one's quite certain that they're going to make it to the last 20 laps. And you never know, because this race, being a club-level event, as it is, of national, of course, stature with the AEC on the line, reliability is one of those things that is always talked about. It's always the 50-cent piece. Look at Peter and Robin Racing Lockie. A throttle cable yesterday for them. You know, the little stuff, the insignificant stuff that always plays a part in ruining someone's race. So reliability is one of those factors that you always count on, or count on delivering a sad story or a factor in this race. So keep an eye out on that.
John Newell in recovery mode. Fastest lap of the race after having to start at the rear of the field with that problem on the grid. A minute 11.5 for him. He's up to 11th position. And how about the number 87 car, Rod State and Jason Humble?
Yeah.
Jason Humble at the wheel. They've come from 25th up to 10th in 4 laps. They are flying.
They certainly are, Lockie. We don't have our rolling screen across here giving us the running order, but we, in the commentary box that is, but we do have live timing, so we'll be able to keep you informed as best as possible. You will have the screen at home as we see a move there on the inside. That was Peter Green Jr. up on the inside, and now tucking in behind Morcillo. So this is very interesting stuff, because Viner's latched onto the back of Ross. We've got Batteram has taken the race lead here. So he's taken the race lead off Ross. We've completely missed that. And now, at the front of the field, you have a look at 1, 2, 3. What a race we've got going here. Ross shafted back to second. Viner's sitting there third with the blue light flashing. Then you go back to Fitzgerald in 4th spot. Waters has been shafted back to 7th, if you don't mind. And then sitting there in 8th spot is Wright. So as I was saying, reliability. We've quite often in these AEC races, we see a rate of attrition, a high rate of attrition. It's usually reliability. Very rare do we see these guys crash or come together. We do have the only exception. Oh, Batteram off the road at turn at the top of the hill. A huge mistake at the top of the hill. A big moment. And then to the lead goes Ross. Viner right on Batteram's tail now.
Whoa, and a big sideways moment for Brett Waters in the Peugeot 205 over the top of the hill as well. He had the thing completely crossed up, left wheels in the dirt, managed to correct it. What a flying start from Peter Green Jr. in the Tampered Motorsport number 2 Mazda MX5. He hadn't driven that car until the morning warm-up this morning, believe it or not. And it's his first ever race meeting in a Mazda MX5, but he's showing very good pace at the moment. Currently second in Division 5. Those of you who are newcomers to the Wakefied 300 and to the Australian Endurance Championship, we should point out that classes, or divisions as we call them, are not determined based on mechanical specifications. They're based on lap time set in qualifying. Divisions 4, 5, 6 and 7 are all in this race. Divisions 1, 2 and 3 in the main race. The fastest anybody is allowed to go in this race is a minute 9 dead. So that's the benchmark time for Division 4. So far, the fastest track in this race is minute 11, so they're certainly not getting close to that benchmark or cut-off time at this stage.
Not yet, anyway. It'll happen towards the back end of the race. Don't worry about that. So Batteram has got Viner right on his tail at the moment at the top of the hill. They make their way down through the infield section. Viner looking on the inside at 6. He can't quite get that done.
This is a classic battle between cars that have got strengths and weaknesses in different parts of the racetrack. As Viner comes ranging up on the outside, not able to do it. Batteram defends. The NX5s will have far superior handling and mid-corner speed compared to the big, heavy Commodore, but where the Commodore will have the advantage is in straight line speed with that powerful 5.7 litre V8 engine, and you can see there on the back straight that Batteram just pulls ahead a couple of car lengths, but then Viner makes it up under brakes, and Mike Fitzgerald, the Honda Civic under 2 litre improved production car, doing a good job just maintaining a watching brief there in position 4. Peter Green Jr.'s been shuffled back a few spots as well, but he's going to get one of them back.
Right. He's just gone up on the inside of right, coming onto the main straight, Lockie. I'm having a look at the screen here in front of us. Now, of course, back at the front of the field. And there's Morcillo going through our shot now. And look at this, they're through and 4 wide coming down the main straight. This is exceptional stuff at the start of the motor race. As we said, 127 laps, already 7 in. 120 to go. It's going to be a sprint all the way.
Jason Humble getting up the inside of Peter Green Jr. there in the Pinnacle Automotive BMW 328i. And laps traffic's going to start to come into the equation shortly for our race leaders. They're not all that far away from starting to catch the tail end runner in the field, which is the number 95 Valvoline Australian Racing Hyundai XL with Mark Nottage at the wheel. And once again, traffic management always one of the key factors in these Australian Endurance Championship motor races.
Exactly right.
So the order at the moment: Tony Rossi, race leader; Peter Batterham in second; David Viner third; Mike Fitzgerald, Mark Morcillo, Brett Waters, John Newell, Peter Green Jr., Jason Humble and Elliot Wright. That's your top 10. Leader of Division 4, first outright is Tony Ross. Leader of Division 5 in fifth outright is Mark Morcillo. Leader of Division 6 in 17th outright is currently David Bailey. And leader of Division 7 in 21st position outright is Scott Williams behind the wheel of the local Hyundai dealer team, Hyundai XL.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much for that, Lachlan. Ross, Batterham, Viner, Fitzgerald, and Morcillo, the top 5. Morcillo's got Peter Green Jr. right up on his tail. Actually, sorry, I'm just having a look here. Morcillo's got Newell up on his tail at the moment. Peter Green Jr.'s dropped back a couple of spots as they make it to the top of the hill. He's sitting there in 9th spot at the moment. He's rear a shot. Oh, look at that on the inside. Brilliant move as they come into the infield.
And they have now rounded up the car of Ian Kegg. I was just going to say, it looks like the number 888 Hyundai XL of David Moyer, Kono and Andrew Walker was a bit slow out of the fish hook, as we've got another move at the fish hook now. That is the recovering John Newell getting up the inside of his Triumph counterpart in Mark Morcillo. And Brett Waters wants to take advantage of that. He's able to round up Morcillo as well. Here comes Peter Green Jr. up on the outside as they head down the back straight. He's going to go side by side with Jason Humble. Humble down the inside of Morcillo into turn 10. Green Jr. will try and follow him through. He'll stick the nose up the inside. We've got the number 27 car into the pits, the John Newell Glenn Coutinho car. What would have been early an unscheduled pit stop. In fact, it's a mechanical flag for that car, so they've got some sort of issues that they're going to have to rectify, and that's a shame because they were making very rapid progress through the field. Because now Robin Latham going to get a couple of positions in turn 2.
Peter Green Jr. up at the outside of the pair of them. Morcillo, Lacey goes through on the inside. He's nuts. Wright's now coming up on the inside of Morcillo as well, but he'll up the outside into turn 3. No, he'll just power up the outside and take that position off him as well. So Morcillo gets hung out to dry that time by. Unbelievable stuff. So Ross, Batter and Viner, Fitzgerald, and Waters the top 5 at the moment. And lap traffic not far away either. Now down the hill, Ross just going past some lap traffic there, Lockie Batterham there, going through nicely as well. Viner will hopefully be able to get through without too much of a hold up, and he does now on the inside. So the top 3 status quo, and 4 spot belongs to Fitzgerald. We complete lap number 10 of 127.
Peter Green Jr. makes a brilliant move around the outside of Brett Waters at turn 10, the final corner. But Waters will have the superior straight line speed in the Peugeot 205 GTI. He'll recapture that spot down the main straight, and you can see Jason Humble, Pinnacle Automotive car, just moving to the inside to try and protect his line, as we see that the number 27 car, John Newell and Glenn Coutinho, is back out on the racetrack, but now a lap down on the race leaders.
There they are. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. 11 of 127. This is exciting stuff as they make their way into the infield once more and into the official. We've got our race leader has changed hands, hasn't it? Yes, it has. Batterham's got back past Ross.
So we've had a couple of lead changes between those two cars so far.
Actually. And then he's just coming up on the 69 of Tony Gonano to lap the diesel nose to turbo 6. Now they're going to come back. Car number 164 is going to get a black flag and a drive-through penalty. That's Morcillo. Morcillo, drive-through penalty. Wow. What for?
I wonder if that was the incident with Glenn Potter at the top of the hill, because those two cars were fairly close together at the time. Oh, as we see him move down the inside, that's Mike Fitzgerald having a look down the inside of David Viner. The two cars will go side by side up the hill, and in fact Fitzgerald might be positioned to get 2 spots here. No, he's not, and in fact in the end he's going to decide that discretion is the better part of valour and concede that spot, slots back into 4th position behind David Viner. Not too necessary to battle too aggressively for track position too early in this race, as we see that Mark Morcillo is now in the pits for that drive-through penalty.
That's over 127, and Ross has got Viner all over the magazine at the moment. They're side by side over the fish hook. Viner's got the run at the moment. Can he get down on the inside into 9? He's going to try it. No, he tucks back in. Now we'll try the slipstream on the run down the hill. This is magnificent motor racing. He's actually going to lose out to Fitzgerald down there on the inside. He holds out on brakes on the outside. This is unbelievable stuff. You just don't know who's going to lead what position across the line or hold what position across the line. Federer lead. He's got an extended margin now. Back to Ross. Viner. Fitzgerald up on the inside to 3rd. The margin 3.62 seconds between 1st and 2nd, and then nothing in it between 2nd, 3rd and 4th.
Batterov's just skipping way a bit at the front of the field at the moment, while these cars become embroiled in this squabble for 2nd position behind him. But then, as you go back down through the top 10, it's very close. Jason Humble, that's been the drive of the race so far. Rear of the field, up to 5th position aboard the Pinnacle Automotive BMW 328i, the naturally aspirated version of that car. They will also run a supercharged car for David Cruiser and Daniel Sugden in the main race this afternoon, as Vine tries to come back at Mike Fitzgerald into the fish hook. Fitzgerald goes defensive on the run into that corner. They're starting to have to negotiate laps traffic as well. And having a car with more horsepower will be an advantage in negotiating through the traffic. It's easier to pass cars on the straights than it is to pass them through corners. And an awkward moment there as John Newell tried to go round the outside of Tony Bonanno. The two cars almost made contact, and the car of John Newell got forced out into the dirt.
Wow, it's all happening. They're not holding back, are they? Just want to make a quick note. I know none of you at the circuit can see this, but our commentary is also going over the live stream. You'll see in the top right corner of the screen a fastest lap there. That is not correct. It's a 2:04.8075. It's not correct. The fastest lap of the race so far is this one down here, a 1:11.0323 from Newell, who's in 22nd position on the racetrack at the moment.
Glenn Potter's done a pretty good job. Remember, he got involved in that spin up the top of the circuit on the 2nd lap. He's got himself back up into 11th position and just outside the top 10. So that's been a good recovery drive. Really the key thing here, Zach, is trying to stay on the lead lap for as long as you possibly can. And the next man in danger of going a lap down will be Mark Morcillo after that drive-through penalty. So he needs to push hard, try and keep himself on the lead lap. Viner back up to 3rd position, goes back around the outside of Mike Fitzgerald. So David Viner gets the Targa racing car back up into a top 3 position.
Good man, David Viner. He and Rob Viner have really come on strong in recent years. There is no doubt about that when it comes to motor racing. They're newbies to AASA stuff, but their form is very, very consistent. So, lap 15 of 127. Mike Fitzgerald's there in 3rd spot. We've got a new fastest lap in 1 minute 10.3516 from David Viner, the man I was just talking about. Brilliant stuff from him. Fastest down on the circuit at the moment. Batteron leads. Ross 2nd. Viner 3rd. Fitzgerald in 4th spot. Humble is in 5th spot at the moment. Lacey 6th. So Lacey's jumped up 7 spots.
Mike Fitzgerald off the road, a spin up at the top of the circuit, gets the Honda Integra out into, the Honda Civic I should say, out into the infield. It looks like he just lost the rear end of that car, and that drops him back off that battle for positions 2 and 3, which has now allowed Tony Ross and also David Viner to pull ahead a bit there. And we're joined in the commentary box now by a man who will be competing in the main race a bit later on this afternoon, or we will be in a couple of moments. Gary Nightingale will be jumping onto the microphone for a chat very shortly.
Diddy will. Looking forward to having a chat with Tezza. 15 of 127 in this race. And our race leader is Batterer. 2nd spot is Ross. 3rd spot is Viner. Then Fitzgerald, Humble, Lacey, Waters, Green Jr. making up the top 8. Right, Potter, not far away either. This is fantastic racing in the early stages. And if you're enjoying your Wakefield 300 morning, welcome. If you're, of course, thinking about sitting on the couch for the day, do so. Plug the live stream in, or plug the computer in, whack the live stream on, stick with us here until about 5:30 this afternoon after the outright 300 race is finished, or as I like to call it, the A main, since we're calling this the B main. So much to play out. Of course, as Lachlan said, pit stops coming up as well.
For David Viner and Tony Ross side by side into turn 9, and Viner around the outside goes up to second as we see Jason Humble continuing to negotiate his way through the traffic aboard car number 87. Here's the battle on screen at the moment. David Viner now second. He's relieved Tony Ross of position 2, and now he's off after Peter Batteram in the VX Commodore.
What a stint this has been from David Viner. Great start from him. And of course, Rob Viner will hop in that car a little bit later on and bring it home. That is one car that will go all day. They have not put a foot wrong in it ever since they jumped into it. It just goes to the front like clockwork. That car will be a contender at the end of the day, provided that nothing goes wrong for them. 17 of 127.
Mike Fitzgerald, fastest lap of the race, minute 10.2, so he's in recovery mode after that spin that we saw up the top of the circuit. He wants to fight his way back onto the tail end of the top 3 runners. And John Newell lapping very quickly as well as he tries to get himself back onto the lead lap after that early unscheduled pit stop with the mechanical black flag. Good morning, Terry.
Yeah, good morning, Lockie. Good morning, Zach. Wow, what an exciting start to the B main. We knew it was going to be exciting, but we weren't too sure it was going to be that exciting. And looks like we've got a new leader, David Viner. David Viner's gone up into the lead, so he's passed the Commodore of Batteram. Great work from the Targa Racing MX5 as they put a lap on Ian Kegg. And there goes Tony Ross as well. So Ross makes his way past Ian Kegg. Now Ross is right in behind the Commodore of Batteram, but Batteram's going to have the straight line speed over David Viner. Viner goes on the inside. Batteram has a look around the outside, but decides that he can't get it done, of course, because we know the MX5s are much better on the braking down into turns 1 and 2, and he's going to get a lead. But oh no, Tony Ross has been held up big time there by Batteram, so this is allowing David Viner to absolutely walk away as he makes his way across the top of the circuit.
And that thing will go on rails right across the top of the circuit, down through the infield as well. Viner will extend a margin here, and a good one at that, because that car is just lighter and more, compliant with the layout of the Wakefield Park circuit than the car behind it at Batteram. Now this is going to be interesting because, if you recall, my friend, you were in this race this time last year. Targa Racing with you and Adam Dodd won this race last year. David Viner and Rob Viner said to me this morning,
we've got a problem for the Triumph, and that looks like day done. That is looks like an oil line or something's come off, or he could have blown a motor. Let's hope that he doesn't drop oil all over the circuit, because that'll cause pandemonium. And he's going to have to get off the circuit as quick as he can, because that'll be dropping oil everywhere.
Can you believe it? Of all the people to sneak it in first, it was Nightingale. Pandemonium is normally Mansell's word. That car is going down the outside of the circuit on the grass. It's going to go and park it. Oh dear, the 27 Newell. Day done. He's going to drive it into pit lane, around the outside of the circuit. Bush bashing it at its very best, ladies and gentlemen. Into the pits he goes. That is day done for that car. Can you believe their wretched luck here at Wakefield Park?
Well, they had the pace, but not the reliability. Had to start at the rear of the field after that stall on the grid, and then they fought their way back up into the top 10. Then they had the unscheduled pit stop, and now they become our first retirement from the D main.
No sooner than one lap into the race, boys, I said, reliability, watch it, because it's always something we've got two eyes on at this race. Mainly because it's club level motorsport. Oh no, big moment there! Spinner in the middle of the infield.
David Bailey, the number 39 Toyota 86, the advanced gas management car.
Now, it's all happening at Wakefield Park. This is a more mental start than what we had for the B-Main last year. But as I say, reliability is the factor, isn't it, Tazza? It's club level motorsport. These guys don't, well, not all of these guys have the professional setups that we see in V8 supercars, in Formula 1, in Australian GT. But we've already shown why. You know, it's club level motorsport. It's mechanical failure so early on. Yeah,
it looks like Tony Ross has started to close the gap a little bit on the back of David Viner. Viner having all sorts of issues at the moment, trying to get past some lap traffic. The Honda Integra, the 40A Falcon, in the way there a little bit through turn number 9, but he makes his way past the Ford Falcon, and he's going to pull out and try and pass the Honda Integra as well, Lockie.
Here's a replay of the spin for the number 39 car. Just got the back end out, coming out of the fishhook, and ended up on the left-hand side of the circuit.
That, of course, is the ex-Targa Racing Toyota FT86, the car that they spent a lot of time developing, and then palmed it off to Matty Shilan. So, just looking at David Viner now, what David's got to do, of course, you don't want to run too hard in the early stages, guys, because you might get a half a lap lead, and then a safety car comes out. So you don't want to push your car too early. You don't want to use the brakes up on the tyres. You just want to wait for, I guess, the last 20, 30 laps of the race. And David Viner's doing a fantastic job. His son will jump in for the second stint, Rob Viner. And we know Chris Goff will be on the radio telling them what to do. Chris Goff, one of the most experienced team managers in the field here for 300 events. Not only experienced as a team manager, but also a driver. Car of Andrew Walker just gets out of the way there.
So Mike Fitzgerald's actually up into third now. He's made his way past Tony Ross. So we've now got Mazda first, Holden second, Honda third. Three different manufacturers occupying the top three spots in the Wakefied 300B, mate. That's one of the things that we do really love about these events, is the fact that there is such a diversity of different cars that take part. On screen at the moment, Peter Conroy Motorsports, Honda Integra Type R of Jack Fairwood, and also the BMW E3325i of Glenn Potter and his brother Rod Potter.
Yeah, of course, Glenn with that early spin through turns 3 and 4, so he's just trying to make up as much position as he can. Though being a long endurance race, not too much of a drama having an early spin, just plenty of time to make the time up. You just got to make sure that you're nice and consistent. Stick to the lap times that you have to do, and keep the car on the shiny stuff. So, David Viner with a 3.7 second lead at the moment from Batterum. Mikey Fitzgerald now up in a third position. So, Tony Ross has dropped back into fourth place. We missed that one. So, Mikey Fitzgerald really turning the wick up on that Honda Civic at the moment, the under 2 litre improved production car. So, that'll be a car to watch as well if we see it rain in the later part of this race, because we know how good front-wheel drive cars in the wet are around Wakefield Park.
And of course, we're expecting rain this afternoon. There's a few clouds coming over already. It's a brilliant day here at Wakefield Park. Now, one of our loyal listeners will be shaking his head at how much we've missed so far. Just before I talk about that person, let's have a look at this magnificent Mazda 6 turbo diesel of Adam Dodd and Tony Bonanno. Adam Dodd, of course, the defending B-main winner with our good mate Terry Nightingale, who's alongside us in the commentary box here. And Bonanno, of course, a regular fixture in the 300s in the past, and he is back behind the wheel of a car for the first time in a while. Back with Adam Dodd, and it's great to have them here, of course. The fact of the matter is, Dottie, of course, has gone from running the MX5 to the turbo diesel, so he's expected to go slow. It has proven to be that way, but this is a trial and development weekend for that car. They want to see how it runs in endurance trim. They were happy with how it handled it. It just doesn't have pit windows open too, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. 104 laps to go, my apologies. And we should point out there that, John was saying to me, and Fernando as well, they said it's a good car. It's great for the corners, handles like a machine, beautiful, but it just lacks that straight line speed.
Just the other point too, the pit window is open. We're still not expecting pit stops for about another 17 laps at the earliest, because the maximum number of laps that any one driver is allowed to complete in this race is 88, which means that lap number 39 is the earliest that you can stop, put your second driver in the car without them exceeding that maximum 88 laps that they're allowed to complete in the car.
That's one of the important factors that you've got to keep in mind as well. That minimum and maximum number, also the 75% mark as well. Here at Wakefield Park this weekend. 24 of 127. Back to the racetrack we go. There are a couple of cars to keep an eye on, of course. The Parry-Aristarchus Waters car and the Morcillo car coming down the main straight at the moment. Just ahead of them, Peter Green Jr. And there goes Waters through on the inside of Morsillo. So Morsillo's now like this.
So currently, yeah, we've got 14 cars on the lead lap, in fact 13 cars, because Russell Harris has just been lapped by David Viner. So the last car on the lead lap is the Mazda RX-7 with Ross Wood at the wheel. And the margin from David Viner back to Peter Batter at 3.9 seconds. Mike Fitzgerald 8.2 seconds off the lead. We generally tend to not have as many safety cars in the B main compared to the main race.
I've got breaking news here, boys. The only problem for the 27 wasn't the engine. That car probably will end up back out on the circuit at some point. You know what they did, don't you? They've left a bottle of oil under the bonnet and it's tipped over and it's sprayed all over the circuit.
You are joking.
No, I'm not joking you. That is exactly what's happened. I've just heard that through because I'm listening to race control as well as talking to these two at the same time. But pit window open, and that's the first thing of use from down there. So I wanted Bockley to go down when he does pit interviews later in the race. He'll go down and discuss out how in the hell that happened.
Now, guys, another thing to note as well. I watched the start of this race from over the top of the hill near turn 9.
Yes.
There is an absolute chaotic breeze blowing out there at the moment.
Yeah.
All it's doing is pushing these clouds towards Goulburn. As we look over the back part of the circuit, it's starting to get very, very dark. So watch the weather. Don't be surprised if you start to see a few raindrops by the end of this race.
Yeah, exactly right. And as I was going to say, one of our loyal listeners is your father, Brian. I know he'll be sitting around here somewhere enjoying his morning and enjoying the race. He'll be correcting us on everything that we've missed so far up here in the commentary box.
Bit of a touring car legend, old Nardo.
Exactly. It's one of those races that when you've got 25 cars, you've got such a wide view, 2.2 kilometres, we are going to miss things. So bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to obviously tweet Lachlan or Terry or myself at Zach Caban, Z-A-K-C-A-B-A-N. Lachlan Mansell, what's yours?
At Lachlan_Mansell.
Yep, and Nido is Nido JR or JNR?
What's Twitter?
You have got Twitter. I tweeted you yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I'm going to have to check that out. If you want to get in contact with me, just Facebook me.
Yeah.
But for those of you who are tuning in on the live stream, remember hashtag WP300. That's the hashtag to ask questions to the commentary team. WP300. All lowercase, all one word. Actually, it doesn't matter. I don't think Twitter's case sensitive.
No. Of course, you can follow us there on Twitter, and of course follow Wakefield Parker on Facebook and the Australian Endurance Championship on Facebook as well to get some info from here at the circuit. If you've got any questions, as we said, tweet us. We're more than happy to answer them on air this morning during the Wakefield 300 B main.
So we'll give you an update on the current positions. Leader of Division 4, first outright, David Viner, car 110 for Targa Racing. First in Division 5 is now the car of Peter and Robin Lacey, with Robin Lacey at the wheel in 6th position outright. First in Division 6, currently 15th outright, Ben Johnson in the Proton Century GTI that he's sharing with Shane Tanner. And first in Division 7, Jonathan Lawson in the Falcon XR6 that he is driving alongside Cameron McGee.
Probably should take note as well that David Viner is actually on slick tyres this weekend, guys.
Yeah.
The first time he's ever turned the wheel in a slick tyre was this morning. And if we do see weather, that is going to play absolute chaos to their race, because we know that they don't have air jacks. They haven't got massive big air rattle guns. They've got 5 wheel nuts to take off rather than one. Obviously, some compared to supercars, Formula 1, Indy cars, etc. So that will take a while to do that down there. So it starts to rain. Keep your eye on the Viners, but I'm sure Chris Goff will have a plan B in order, as he usually does. The Targa Racing team is very, very professionally outfit. So 100 laps to go. We've already completed 27 laps, guys. So that's gone quite quickly indeed.
And no safety cars so far either, boys. We've seen a few hairy moments on the circuit, but no safety cars, which is a good thing. And of course, the Viners, you mentioned that they're running on slicks. One of the things I was going to say as I was trying to clear the throat there, you'll have to...
Oh, no, we've got a problem for car number 4.
McKee and Lawson off the circuit at turn 2.
And that was the car that was first in Division 7 at the time.
Wow.
So they'll be kicking themselves for that error. Jonathan Lawson at the wheel of the Falcon XR6.
I want to go back and finish the point that I was making. We'll see a replay of that in a moment, I'm sure. But what I was saying about the Viners, they're obviously banking on the rain coming after the B main is finished. And let's be perfectly honest, it is predicted for afternoon. This is a morning race, just into the early phases of the afternoon. So going to rain. Banking on it being in the afternoon just so they can get away with running slicks in this race. The other thing I was going to say, apologies for the clearing the throat there. I forgot to turn the microphone off, but I've got a sore throat. So bear with me throughout the day, ladies and gentlemen. Watford and I, our voice is gone by the end of the 300.
So that spin for Jonathan Lawson has cost them the lead in Division 7. It's now Scott Williams in the Hyundai XL who's gone back up into the lead in Division 7 after he was leading that division earlier on in the race.
Of course, Jonathan Lawson, a debutant of the Wakefied 300, his first time in the 300-kilometre endurance race. So just trying to find his feet, a little bit too hot in turn 2. So we see Roland Rural in the Mazda RX-7, a long-time competitor of Motor Racing Australia, of course the 300 events. He had a little bit of time off for a couple of years, so he built the bank balance up again, and he's finally back to come playing here in the 300, but he's right behind the Ford Falcon at the moment. And just seeing if they're actually on the same lap. It's actually Ross Wood behind the wheel of that vehicle. And that is the big Ford Falcon of car 771, who's actually a lap down. That's the Shaw vehicle, the EA Falcon, as Ross Wood rather, pulls out of turn 10, gets up beside him, and should have position as they come back into turn 1. Of course, the RX-7 much better on its brakes than the Ford Falcon.
They're not on the same lap at the moment. Rosswood's actually almost a lap ahead of David Shaw at this point. So we've currently got 12 cars still on the lead lap. The last of the cars on the lead lap at this stage is the Pete Conroy Motorsport Honda Integra Type R. Jack Thielen behind the wheel.
Oh, there he goes again. Car number 4 off at turn 10. So he just mentioned, he looks like he's got a problem. He's weaving the vehicle left to right there. A little bit of a strange thing to do on the grass, but he's got the car back on the track. We'll just keep a close eye on car number 4 of Lawson and just see what he does for the next 2.2 kilometres.
He's managed to not lose any positions out of that one, thankfully, but he has lost a lot of time to David Scott Williams Hyundai XL.
Now, Lockie, if it does rain, we know that we have a rain expert out on the circuit, don't we? In a car that's very good in the wet. Who am I talking about?
Peter Green Jr.
Peter Green Jr.
The problem is, of course, that he will at some stage have to get out of that car and hand it over to Adam Rock. So
well, we know Adam's not bad in the wet either.
If it's going to rain, though, Peter Green Jr. is probably the man that you want in the car. One of the best wet weather drivers here at Wakefield Park B is in a Nissan Pulsar or in an HQ Holden. Now, David Viner's extended the lead of 11.4 seconds, but the battle is on for second position between Peter Batterum in the number 46 Commodore and Mike Fitzgerald is right on his tail. So, battle for positions 2 and 3 really heating up, and Tony Ross not far away from that one either. And there's very quick drivers who will jump into these cars at the pit stops. David will hand over to Rob Viner. Peter Batterum will hand over to the owner of that Commodore, which is Michael Wedge. Mike Fitzgerald will hand over to Rod Chivas, and Tony Ross will hand over to Paul Chapman, who we know is a very good driver.
Yeah, Paul Chapman is a very, very accomplished steerer, very quick driver, and we look forward to him getting in the Bavaria Mazda MX5 to see how he goes. Just touching on Peter Green Jr. again, he's got a new haircut this weekend, guys, and he's looking a little One Direction like. He's got the little hair lick on the right-hand side, and we know Junior's a bit of a pretty boy, but probably taking things a little bit too far with the haircut.
Let's be perfectly honest, we're not 3 men to talk about haircuts.
No.
There's a reason why there's not a camera in the commentary box like there was for our mates Hindhoff and Frail at the 12 hour.
Geez, Lockie and I, we spent a bit of time on the big screens at the 12 hour, didn't we, mate?
I think we actually probably spent more time than our mates John Hindhoff and Richard Frail, because when we were commentating on the Friday at the Bathurst 12 hour, they didn't have any coverage on track, so they spent most of the time with the video camera pointing at our ugly mugs in the commentary box. Very Good evening to John Hindorf as well, if he is tuning in. I know that there's quite a few people from the Midweg Motorsport Listeners Collective, people who do tune into the Radio Le Mans podcasts, who are tuning into the Wakefied 300 this weekend. So, yeah, big shout out to the whole team at Radio Le Mans.
Had a great chat with John Hindorf after the race at the 12 hour, of course. We got 20 minutes of his time. The man is a fountain of knowledge, a wealth of experience when it comes to sports car racing and broadcasting. And really, as you see the Ian Keg car there on screen, we'll let Lachlan have a little bit of a chat about the XL in just a moment. Really, to be perfectly honest, that is, it's great to have blokes like Hindorf coming and calling our events here at Wakefield Park. The wind's blowing that hard in the TV room, it's just gone down and smashed on the floor, but we'll fix that in a moment. As I say, with Hindorf, 20 minutes of his time, and he could have talked for 40 or 50. So if you're listening, John, thank you very much for that, and good evening to you. I hope you're enjoying our Valvoline Wakefield 300 out. Essentially, Goldman's 12 hours.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic, the amount of entries that we've got this weekend, and great to chop the two races in two. It just goes to show the popularity of these events and the affordability too. So if you're watching at home and you've got a race car and think, geez, I'd love to come and do this, most makes and models and most vehicles from different categories are all welcome to come along. We've got a bit of a battle between the Hyundai XLs at the moment, Lockie, Ian Keg, and
it's actually Mark Nottage at the wheel of that car, but they're not on the same lap. In fact, they've just been lapped by Scott Williams. We should point out that these XLs are not mechanically identical. The Dave and Scott Williams car is actually a fair bit more heavily modified than Ian Keg and Mark Nottage's car, which is pretty much a stock standard XL, which was built to the New South Wales XL Racing Series technical regulations.
Amen coming up this afternoon, our man in it, so Nightingale alongside Rob Hay. We'll talk to Tesla about that.
Cold and refrigeration. They do cool room installs and stuff like that. So if you're looking to do that, go down to see Rob Hay at Cold and Refrigeration. Just a short little plug there for the sponsors.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you about that in a few moments as well, mate. The other point that I wanted to make with our live stream today, this event, I believe, had 80 odd entries when the entries were officially open. The highest number we got was in the 80s. But again, the reason why we don't see them see everyone on the grid, I think we had 63 take to the circuit yesterday for practice. The reason why we don't see everyone on the circuit is as simple as this. It's club level motorsport. Things come up, incidents happen. I know Matt Fewless will be watching at home. He was banned from coming up here this weekend because the wife is expecting a kid next week. So he's there ready because, you know, the bunner's in the oven and ready to pop any tick of the clock. So he's got to be on deck. He's shouting that he can't be here, but I hope he's watching and enjoying the live stream this morning.
Yeah, I'm sure Matty Thillis will be out there. He's a very professional racer, is Matty. And he's got a beautiful new baby into the world, which is fantastic. But won't be on the circuit this weekend. So we'll update you the top 10. We've got David Viner out in front by 3.3 seconds. So battering in the big Commodore, he started to catch up slowly to the back of Viner's car.
Viner's lost a lot of time, actually, because his lead was out to 9 seconds not that long ago. But it's come back. Let's have a look at the lap time. David Viner's last time around was a minute 13.9, which is a lot slower than the outright pace. Now he gets put back down to a minute 11.4. Could be that he was just affected a bit by traffic, and that's why he's lost all that time. But in fact, he was faster that time around than the second place car of Peter Batter, and so the margin remains at 3.9 seconds. Tony Ross still in third position. Mike Fitzgerald still in fourth, and just 8.4 seconds separating our top four cars at this stage. Then it is about half a minute back to the fifth place car of Robert Lacey, who's having a healthy battle at the moment with Peter Green Jr. for the lead in Division 5, with those cars separated by less than 4 seconds in positions 5 and 6 outright. David Viner, first outright, first in Division 4. Division 5 leader is Robin Lacey. She is in position 5 outright. The leader of Division 6 continues to be Ben Johnson in the car that he's sharing with Shane Tanner, the Proton Century GTI, and Scott Williams, after that spin for John Lawson, has now taken the lead of division number 7. So they are your division leaders. We've completed 35 laps here in the B main for the Valvoline Wakefield 300 2015 edition.
Quick shout out to a legend of Bathurst. Hello, Coach. I know you're listening in this morning. He just Facebooked us saying, five-way, multi, a $5 multi on Terry top 3 into Zach, saying, will you have a look at this in the commentary box? So good on you, Coach. That shout out proudly brought to you by Dan Murphy's, of course. 37 of 127 here at Wakefield Park, Lachlan.
Just had a message come through as well from Martin Rogers, who's one of the series organisers for the VEK Tools Pulsar Challenge.
Hang on a sec, he just messaged me as well.
He's tuning in on the live stream, and they've got their next round of the series next weekend at Sydney Motorsport Park with over 20 cars entered, which is great stuff. There was actually one supposed to be running this weekend in the Wakefield 300, Shane Tate and Andy Kiss, but unfortunately it was withdrawn due to some Andy Kiss. Some other race meeting over in Adelaide this weekend.
We all know what that is. You don't have to sugarcoat it.
What, the Dubbo Hill climb? So 91 laps to go, Lockie, and we're...
Peter Green Jr. has caught Robin Lacey, so that is the battle for first place in Division 5, and Robin Lacey now coming under all sorts of pressure from Peter Green Jr. as those two cars head through the official.
Mate, Peter Green Jr., the HQ legend, can't walk anywhere near a HQ without someone wanting his autograph, and doing a cracking job in the Tampa Motorsport MX5 at the moment. Up the inside, using those brakes very, very hard. We know the MX-5s are great on the brakes. Of course, the car of Robin and Peter Lacey doesn't have ABS either, so they have to be careful not to lock wheels. Just come down the straight, you can see the speed advantage of the Lacey car compared to the Tampa Motorsport car of Adam Ronk and Peter Green Jr. Look at that, 6 or 7 car lengths on the straight, Lockie.
Yeah, but Peter Green Jr. has been quicker through the corners, and his that time around was faster than Robin Lacey, as we see on screen.
Congestion.
A lot of congestion up at turn number 10 with Mark Morcillo in the Triumph Dynamite, just having to sidestep the car of Glenn Cotton, which gets up the inside. We've got one of the other Triumphs, that's the 141 entry of Elliot Wright and Greg Morcillo into the pits now as well after 35 laps. Also, Tony Ross is back past Mike Fitzgerald, so those cars he swaps third position again as well. Tony Ross back up into position 3.
Fairly well spread out this field now, isn't it? Have a look at the margins. First to second is 6.28 seconds, but then those next 3 are fairly well together. It's about 1.3 seconds from Batterham to Ross, 1.7 seconds from Ross to Fitzgerald. Then the big gaps extend out to the rest of the field. We've still got 10 cars on the lead lap here. The first of the cars lap down Phelan in the 14 down in 11th spot, lap 39 of 100.
So probably
27, the 2015 Australian Insurance Championship live at motorsportstv.com.au, proudly presented by Valvoline Super Shock and Aussie Hire.
I'd probably say that David Viner may have been caught up in traffic there. That's why he lost so much time as he makes his way up the inside of that Falcon, as we see on our TV monitors at the moment, coming through turn 10. And that's car 110 that we've got our eye on. Another Targa Racing entry, and that's actually David Viner. So using all of the road on the entry to turn 10, right on that white line. And we mentioned earlier that Dave and Rob, they've only been in motorsport for a couple of years, and Chris Goff has picked them up, he's mentored them, he's tutored them, and now they're doing an absolutely fantastic job in the lead of this one. It'd be great to see another Targa Racing car on the podium, if not the win. Of course, I'm heavily involved with the team myself, so I'm a little bit biased in that area, but
That's right.
fantastic guys, great cars, great preparation, and they run a very, very good outfit out of Targa Racing. And you can actually hire one of these cars. You can lease one of these cars for the 300 races. So if you're interested, if you want to go racing but don't have your own race car, go see Chris Goff. You pay a couple of dollars, you get your backside in the seat, and you go out and you take the lead of the race and possibly a win of an Australian endurance race.
That's it. They're going to run, as we have a look at Viner come through turn 9 and head down towards turn 10. They're going to be running 6 cars this weekend. They're running 5. But Zadar said to me, he said, you know what, I'm looking forward to this weekend like a hole in the head. 5 cars is going to be mental, and Chris is going to have him running ragged. As much as they love their racing, it's a difficult weekend for Targa. 5 cars there. I get to do all their PR afterwards, so the work doesn't stop when I leave here, and it's a pleasure to do it, of course. When you're at cars like David and Rob, finally,
yeah, fastest lap of the race so far. Wakefied David Viner back on lap number 18. We're up to lap 40, would you believe, Zach? And that was a 109.5589 for Viner. So the slick tyres, plenty of temperature in them at the moment. Doing a great job. So he makes his way down the hill. He's going to put a lap on the Masillo car. Down the inside. And away he goes. No, he doesn't. He's got his nose chopped off there. And down there into turn 7, into the fish hook. Misses the apex a little bit, gets on the throttle early, and then drives out of the corner, flat through turn 9 in one of these NCs. There he goes, flat out, as we move back to the car of Batterum and Tony Ross. Tony Ross now closing the gap on Batterum. Have a look on the brakes. We know that car of Tony Ross's is very, very good on the brakes. He goes nice and wide. Mikey Fitzgerald right up behind him as well, so we've got a 3-car battle for position 2 at the moment. So go right out wide and overtake the car of Glenn Potter. But they won't get the Triumph Dolomite of Mark Morcillo. You know, that thing's probably got the biggest horsepower output in the field and very, very quick in a straight line.
Oh dear.
Down into turns 1 and 2 again. Mikey Fitzgerald gets held up a little bit by the car of Glenn Potter as Lachlan Mansell makes his way down in the pit lane, and I'm privileged enough to take over his host seat. I feel like a bit of a king here. Although I haven't got Lachlan's crown on because it doesn't fit. His head's a little bit smaller than mine.
Lachlan, of course, introduced the host seat chair. Of course, normally he used to sit in that chair, but then he worked his way back into the Wakefield Park. He smashed it up.
Oh, we've got Tony Bonanno off at the top of the circuit.
Yep.
And he's going to make his way
back on
down the hill climb track. So a little bit quick. Oh, and here we go. We've got a meatball flag for a car. We're going to have to keep an eye on this one. Will this be one of our race leaders?
It's actually car number 95. Car number 95.
Over the pit wall.
Yeah.
And it could be, is it
so
car
95, that's Ian Keg, isn't it?
Car number 95.
Yep. It's Mark Nottage behind the wheel at the moment. So
yeah.
He's going to have to make his way into pit lane. We can't see if we can't pick up the problem with Ian Kegg's car. Doesn't seem to be anything too dramatic going on with that vehicle at the moment, but obviously the officials have seen something that we can't.
Well, that's exactly right. Let me try and figure out exactly what that is, and I'll come back to you.
Yeah, so 85 to go. And we're just keeping an eye on our race leaders. Brett Waters, all the way back in position number 7, running around with 1 minute 11s. We thought that car would have been much quicker. Started from the front row of the grid. So we'll wait and see what happens when we put Parry Anastakis behind the wheel. He's the team owner of the car. A very accomplished driver. He's done plenty of 300s. One of our most capped Wakefield 300 drivers, in fact. He's nearly been in every single one that's been held.
In fact, when you look at the sheet of most starts in the 300, he, Raddatz, Jess, Flanagan, all tied on 7. They've all started their 8th today. And the most finishes, 6. He's only got 7 today as well. Now, that news from downstairs, it's an issue with the Nottage Head brake lights. They appear to be locked on. They're continuously on. They appear to be locked on. So that's why we're calling them in to get them to have a look at the electronics of that at the moment.
That's painful, that is. That's only a really small issue, but anyway, the officials deem it.
Well, it's a safety thing because, I mean, obviously, if you come up on someone and they've got their brake lights on, what are you going to think? You know? It's a strange one, and it's a tricky one, but we're sure Lachlan Mansell will get to the bottom of that in just a moment. We can see him down there in pit lane. He's made his way down from the commentary box.
I'm with Rob Viner from the lead car at the moment, and Rob, that's doing pretty well out there.
Yeah, he's doing great, very consistent. He's just staying in front with clean laps.
Now, you started 4th on the grid. What was the move that got you into the lead?
Well, the MX5 is just quicker through the corners than the heavier Commodore. We got more corner speed than the slightly slower MX5, and it was held by, I think it was a spin out by the 3rd car as well.
Now, you've already told me you're the quicker driver, you're the better driver. When are you jumping in?
Well, it is a safety car from now on. I'll be coming in straight away. I'll be getting in then. But if not, then anywhere between like 55 and 60.
And have you spoken to Dad in the car? How's he feeling?
He's feeling great. Yeah, he's loving it. He loves it.
Confidence got to be pretty high at the moment.
Yeah, we're feeling very confident. As long as the car holds up, touch some wood, we'll be fine. Yeah, we should be fine.
Touch your head, mate. Good luck.
Thanks.
So we'll just keep an eye on that little battle. Rob Viner probably a little bit quicker than Dave as well, so they'll have their fastest drivers in for the final stint of the race coming up in a little while. So car number 46, that's Peter Batterham in the Southern Cross Sheds Ultra Tune holding Commodore.
So many names in the field this weekend, so many names to remember. It's not an easy race for us.
It's good to see that there's plenty of new faces as well, Zach, and it just goes to show the growth of this event. Matthew Ronk and all the Wakefield Park team have really put a big effort into getting this event to where it is.
Right, Lachlan, we'll go to you.
Yeah, because the car of Peter Gray Jr. and Adam Brock is in the pits. Is this a compulsory stop? What's happening? Is this a compulsory stop?
It will be now.
Casual as they come, Tampa Motorsport.
He just answered that as quick as you like and walked off. He just left Lachlan there stranded. Poor Lachlan.
Lockie, see if you can grab Peter Green. I'm not sure what he's doing, but see if you can get him as soon as you can. I'd love to hear his thoughts.
You just like to hear his voice.
It's cute.
Now, should apologise there. We were away for a brief moment whilst we were updating our listeners here at the circuit on what was going on. Our AVE viewers were off at an interview with Rob Viner. I'm sure Lachlan will have a chat with Rob himself for the benefit of those who are in the circuit very, very soon. But at the moment, we're on lap 46 and 127. 82 to go. 81 when they cross the line. Viner leads. Ross second. Battle. Fitzgerald Lacey in the top 5 as Viner heads down into turn 2 once more.
And I can see Lachlan down there in pit lane, just circling around Peter Green Jr. like a shaft of blood. So, no, Lockie's walking away.
Yeah, I've got some bad news for you guys. The power steering in that car has failed, and that's their day done. First time that car's ever retired from an Australian Endurance Championship race.
Wow, that's a shame. They can't run it without the power steering, Lockie? No? Lockie, they can't run it without the power steering?
No, they can't. Well, Adam's decided that they're going to retire that car from the race.
Oh, that's a massive shame for Adam and Peter Green Jr. They were really set for a good finish. Looking for a top 5 there, the way things are going. But that's quite strange. I drove that car in 2012 with Adam and didn't have power steering then, but he's upgraded the steering system and put power steering on it. Unfortunately, that's the downfall of the car. Okay, here we go. Car number 70 in pit lane. This will be the first of our scheduled pit stops, I'd say it is. It's Russell and Andy Harris. Andy behind the wheel of the car at the moment, I think.
What a good start from those guys, eh?
Yeah, they've had a cracker of a start. It's actually Russell behind the wheel. He's down in position number 12 at the moment. 1 lap down off the lead. And Russell gets out, nice and casual, remembering that they do have 5 minutes to complete their pit stop.
And remembering that the driver can't be in the car when the fuel's going in as well.
You know what? They might have a problem here. They're a little bit too casual. So there's Russell Harris, the back of his helmet, talking to John Street.
No, it's all going according to plan for them, and this was always their strategy to have Russell start the race, do his minimum number of laps in the car, and then put Andy into charge home.
Okay, well, thanks for that, Lockie. The fuel goes in. They have to pump 30, 40 litres into the back of this MX5. Yeah, the Lacey's are having a great run, and Robin behind the wheel at the moment. Her fastest lap was, in fact, the last lap around, the 111.7, so she's getting quicker.
In fact, Lachlan, if you're down that way, get Peter to have a chat with you, because I'm sure he'd offer some very intelligent insight into their problems, not only yesterday, but also the run that Robin's having this morning.
Yeah, I reckon Peter Green Jr. would probably be more animated at the moment than the Disney film Frozen. So maybe wait a good 5 minutes and let Peter calm down. We know he's
Peter Lacey.
Peter Lacey. Okay.
Lacey. I want to know about Peter Lacey. and Robin Lacey's run, because they've had a great run. They started
I mean, he's about 5'8", grey hair, glasses.
That's him, yeah.
Yeah, you wanted to know more about him?
No, I wanted to know more about the race that they run.
Oh, okay.
And
So,
now, top of the hill, there's the 19. That's the Targa Racing stable entry.
Shaklady and Carter.
Yeah. And they're getting some good airtime right about now, making their way through the first section where they're running. They're running 8th at the moment. A good run for that car. Of course, Targa Racing cars 1 and 8, and the entry that's got Bonanno at the wheel down at 23rd at the moment. Like 49 of 127. Those of you that are tuning in to the live stream, thank you so much for your company. On this Sunday morning, we're counting down to the main race this afternoon, the Valvoline Wakefield 300, which the skies are anything to go by, Tazza. It could be just a little bit wet at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's I hope it rains. I really, really do. It's going to be.
You're saying that as a driver, not a spectator.
Yeah, as a driver, yeah. For the spectators, I hope it doesn't rain because you get wet backsides. But
yeah, there's not a lot of shelter here, is there?
No, there's not. But look, if it rains, it's going to make it very, very interesting. You know, especially if it stops raining. What do you do? Do you stay on your wet tyres or do you risk it and put slicks on? You know, it's one of those things. So we're going to go down to Lachlan Mansell, who's got Peter Lacey.
Yeah, down here with Peter Lacey, and you might have had some problems in qualifying yesterday, but now the car is running like a train. First in Division 5.
Yes, thanks, Lockie. Yeah, look, we had troubles yesterday with the throttle cable, but we put a new one in, and the car's going great. Running to plan. Robin's happy. She's got about 20 minutes to go. We'll see what happens then.
You finished on the podium in the B main last year. Can you repeat that result, do you think?
I'm going to give it a damn good try when I get out there, I can tell you.
When are you due to get in?
About 20 more laps, I think we'll leave her out there for. We've got plenty of fuel on board. Our car's running fine. She's cool, so no problems.
All right, well, have fun in your stint.
Thanks a lot, Lockie.
There you heard it from the horse's mouth. Peter Lacey, the owner of the GCE Mazda MX5 NA, and he'll be jumping in.
Yesterday.
Yeah, throttle cable. I'm pretty sure that's not the first time that's happened with that vehicle. I might be wrong. I've been wrong before in the past, but the car seems to be going quite well at the moment, and they've also had a couple of issues before with other cars at events where some of the other drivers around them have, I guess, their ambition has outweighed their talent a couple of times and made contact with that vehicle, but it's nice and shiny, bright and orange at the moment, so that's exactly what we want to see. Just going through the times, David Viner leads the race by 5.2 seconds from Tony Ross. Then we had Peter Batterer back there in 3rd position in the Holden Commodore. He's another 2 seconds behind Tony Ross in 2nd. Mikey Fitzgerald in the under 2 litre improved production Honda Civic. He's in 4th position. Robin Lacey in 5th. We just spoke to her husband and her co-driver. He'll be jumping into the car shortly. Brett Waters in 6th position in the Parry Anastakis Peugeot 205 GTIs. We see Russell and Andy Harris make their way out of the pit lane, and now we're going to go down and check out what Rob Viner's got to say. Of course, his father in the lead of the race at the moment.
Well, Robert, couldn't have gone much better for you, for your dad, this opening stint.
Yeah, no, not much better at all. He's driving really, really well, really consistent, keeping it clean, and we're getting a consistent lead. Yeah.
How long until you get in?
Within probably the next 10 laps, so pretty soon.
Can you win it, do you think?
I think we've got a pretty good chance. Dad's set me up pretty well. All I got to do is just keep doing what he's been doing, and yeah, we should be all right.
Well, Terry and Zach, it could well be that Targa Racing maintain their 100% record for victory in the B main for Australian Endurance Championship races.
Well, that's exactly right, Lockie. Of course, Dottie and Nightingale did it last year here and at Winton as well.
Oh, here we go. We've got Adam Ronk and Peter Green Jr. back in the race, so they've decided to run it. Lockie, we need some information on that. So that's great news for the Big Fella Clothing Camper Motorsport car. And let's not forget that if you're a little bit on the chunky side or you're a little bit bigger, you can go see Adam Ronk. You can get online, Big Fella Clothing. They make all sorts of clothing for the bigger guy, and pretty trendy stuff as well. So
I must admit, I laughed a few moments ago because Lachlan posed the question to Rob Viner, can you win it from here? I hate when he asks that question because usually things go pear-shaped. So I'm hoping that Targa can hold on to their 100% record. Of course, at the moment, the margin between Rob Viner and Tony Ross is 2.89 seconds. So I reckon David might be just getting a little bit tired at the end of this stint, or he's either that or he's getting held up in traffic. Oh no! Speaking of Viner, no!
Oh no! That's a problem. That's an
the
engine.
That's done.
Oh no!
Oh no! Can you believe that? See? Commentator's curse from Mansell strikes again.
Oh, no, that's a big shame. He's got to turn that car off. That's...
No. Dear oh dear.
Joking.
Can you believe that? That car has run faultlessly in the time that they've been competing together in these 300s and in modern sports cars as well. And that is done, unfortunately, for David Viner. As I said, I thought there was a problem, and it turns out it's the biggest one of the lot. It's the engine.
There he is now.
Unbelievable.
Dave Viner out of the car, and he'll be absolutely devastated. What a shame. Heartbreaking for the Targa Racing crew, father and son team of Rob and David Viner. And
sorry, I'm reading something on social media from my housemates tuned into our coverage. He reckons Lockie needs a nap.
Yeah, there he is, David Viner talking to the fire marshal now. I'm not sure if he's turned that car off. There still seems to be smoke coming out of the back of that, but it just could be after he shut it down.
I can't believe that.
Jeez, Lockie, what have you done?
I'm with Russell Harris, car number 70, the silver Mazda. And Russell, your first ever endurance race, your first ever Wakefield 300. How is it?
I was a last-minute fill-in with my son. We're having a ball. The car's a bit slow, it's a bit down on horsepower, but we're doing our best we can. We had a big off at turn 2, which is a bit scary, but it put us back a bit. But he's a lot quicker driver, and he'll make up some good time. And the car's going really good.
Big off at turn 2. What lap number roughly, and how was it?
About 3 or 4 laps, 3 or 4. It was pretty scary. I just got through the gravel pit, didn't get bogged and able to get out, but got back to last, but picked up a few spots. But my young bloke's a good driver. He'll drag it forward, so we'll just keep it going. Keep it going.
Very early driver change. Was that part of the plan?
Yes, I'm out of condition. I'm not as quick as him, and he'll be able to run to the finish now, so that'll be good.
But finally, you're grinning from ear to ear. How was it?
Awesome, out of ball, absolute ball. And I'd like to thank Wakefield Park and you fellas for making it all happening. Thank you.
Well done, go and recover.
Thank you.
Thank the leader this one. Michael Fitzgerald up in the third, and Peter Lacey, or Robin Lacey rather, up in the fourth position.
Dear oh dear. So, now that we recover from the Viner incident, we go back to the race leaders, which are, as Terry alluded to, Ross and Chapman. Nottingham is their second. Wedge will take over that car shortly. Fitzgerald is third. Lacey now up into fourth spot. What a story to be for the Queenslanders to win this weekend, considering Robin was so crook last year when the Winton 300 come round that she couldn't run at Winton.
Here we go. We've also got another car into the pits, guys. Brett Waters in the pit lane. So Parry Anastakis will take the reins of that car, and we know he's quicker. It's his car. So Parry, one of our favourites. That's who you guys had as the race favourite before we began.
Yeah, now the reason that car came in...
about 10 minutes ago. It was all smiles. Everything was going so well. What happened?
There's been an engine failure there somewhere. Doesn't run anymore, so that's it. Day end.
It was a pretty big off as well.
Yeah. Well, he's going pretty fast, and the engine just gave up. And so, yeah, he's had to park it in the grass.
What's he said to you on the race radio?
He didn't know what happened. He just said that the engine just turned off. It blew up, apparently.
Obviously disappointing. How are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty gutted. I didn't even get in the car, but, you know, it's racing, and it's a great event, and, I know, we're just glad to be here in the end, so maybe next time.
Well, at least you led for the first few laps. Better luck next time.
Yeah, thanks.
So, of course, the Bonanno Dodd entry 2, which we see on our screen there behind Ian Keggs, Mark Nottage's car coming into the fishhook once more. They put the ripple strip on the way up. They make their way out of turn 8 up towards turn 9. And it's Nottage and Keg leading the way on our screens at the moment. But they are at this stage, well, Bonanno and God are 21st, Nottage and Keg are 24th on the racetrack. So they've just got another lap down there. Back to the main straight, they come another lap complete. And that is the end of lap 56. And we've got more from down in pit lane. Lachlan Mansell.
Yeah, down here with Russell Harris, who's hopped out of the number 70 MX5. Andy now behind the wheel. How was that opening stint, Russell?
I had a big off down at turn 2, which was pretty scary. I got out of the sand just, which put us to the back of the field, but I made up a few. I come in, I've done my minimum amount of laps. I think I've done 45, so that Andy can go to the finish. He's a lot quicker than me in the car. The car's going really good. Obviously, it's down on horsepower being a standard engine, but he'll pick his way back up to a reasonable finish, I hope.
A bit of rain probably wouldn't be such a bad thing for you guys. We know Andy goes pretty well in the wet.
Yeah, he loves the wet weather, so he'd be praying in the car for wet, but yeah, we'll see what happens anyway. But I'd like to thank Wakefield Park and Valvoline for putting it all on for us. Thank you.
Cheers, Russell.
Our friend Linda Devlin's all over social media at the moment, liking our posts and looking at our comments and all that sort of stuff. She's, of course, getting ready to race against you in the A-Main this afternoon. Should be good fun. Car number 46 into the pits. Thank you, Lockie. That's our 4th place car. We'll go to you. Stick with it. Oh, there's the sad side of the Viner car on the back of the tow truck. That's the tow car, I should say. That's sad. Lachlan, it's you.
Yeah, so the number 46 car, Michael Wedge and Peter Batterham, a very good opening stint from Peter Batterham. He was able to keep that car within striking distance of the race lead right throughout his stint, and he'll hand it over to the car's owner, Michael Wedge, for the run home. And I think Michael Wedge, being the owner of the car, probably will be a little bit faster than what Peter Batterham was, so they're definitely a podium contender.
Indeed they are. Thanks, Lockie. It's one of those things, isn't it, Terry? This race, it always throws up hard luck stories. It always throws up good stories as well. Unfortunately, 59 laps in, we've already seen a couple of hard luck stories, like the Ronk Green Junior car. That's not going to win now. The Viner car is out of the race. The Newell car is gone. You know, there's just been so many hard luck stories. And Lower Carno's now into the pits as well.
Yeah, Lower Carno into pit lane. So that's the car that he's sharing with Andrew Walker. And they're going to do their compulsory pit stop now. So nearly halfway through the race day.
Very much so. Lap 60 we're on now. Tony Ross leading the way and Paul Chapman. They have been faultless since word go. They really have. Just
big lead too. Big lead. Now I'm going to be keeping an eye very closely on the Peugeot 205 GTI of Parry Anastakis. I'd like to see what sort of lap times he'll be pumping out. We'll try and open our eyes to see where the car is. There he is, coming through turns 3 and 4 at the moment.
Very
dropping down the hill, and you know what? That car already looks like it's got plenty of pace.
Very good morning to Katie Eisen, who's here as well. She just recently tagged us all in a post saying it's race day on social media, so good on you, Katie. Welcome to Wakefield Park once more. Lap 60 of 127. David and Rod Viner now slipping down to 21st position. They won't be the last car classified. They will be the first of the current DNFs. Any more that come after that will, of course, slip in front of Viner, but they will continue to slip down the order as the race goes on. Locarno, Ronk should eventually pass them, so too Keg and Nottage. Now, let's talk about your race this afternoon. We have never seen a more competitive field for 300, have we?
Mate, I went through the times last night, and it's just astonishing. I mean, so close. You go a second quicker and you're going to be up 15 positions. It's ridiculous. It's super, super close. The A race is going to be absolutely incredible. And, you know, we're starting out at P28. So, our expectations aren't too high. But if it rains, then you don't know what's going to happen. We know the MX5s are very quick in the wet. And big thanks to Rob Hay for having me on board this weekend. Him and his brother Matty have been doing a lot of work for that car. Well, I've been up here yapping stuff with you blokes, so really going to thank Rob for the opportunity. The Commodore Refrigeration MX5, of course, those guys do cool room installs, you know, bottle shops, shopping centres, all those sorts of places. So if you're in the need for a new cool room, need something installed, make sure you contact Commodore Refrigeration. They do a great job. And yeah, fantastic. And our sister car as well on pole position. Nick Cansian in the turbocharged MX5. Fastest MX5 ever around Wakefield Park. Would you believe that yesterday? 103 flat, a PB for young Nick. Fantastic young little driver, and another guy that...
Ross and Chapman are in the pits. Ross and Chapman in the pits. Our race leaders are in. 18 seconds into their compulsory 5-minute pit stop. Our Lachlan Mansell is there. We'll come back to Terry in a moment.
Yeah, thank you, Zach. So Tony Ross's stint is done. He's out of the car. Also, the stop for car number 46 is over. Car number 46 pit stop is over. So that car's heading back out onto the racetrack as well, with Michael Wedge now at the wheel of that car. How long have they spent in pit lane, guys? You'd be able to see it from up there.
5:33, so they're already up after their 5 minutes or past their 5-minute part.
No, they've only been in for 53 seconds.
No, but Ross has been in for 56 seconds. We were talking about Batterham and Wedge.
Yeah, so they've been in, 42 seconds.
They're just going back out on the track, just back out on the track. Batterham and Wedge are making their way back out onto the circuit. So they're gone. Bonanno and Judd are also in the pit lane, so too Bailey, Lachlan.
The critical thing there, though, Zach, is that Wedge and Batterham stop. If it was over 5.5 minutes, then that's almost half a lap when you think about it, of time that they've lost compared to their rivals. They needed to be a bit closer to the 5-minute mark than that.
Yeah, they certainly did. You're not wrong.
I don't know how many times we've seen it in these 300 races that guys just go way over their pit stop limit and way over the 5 minutes, and it really hurts them. I mean, that's like speeding out twice on one lap.
Yeah, exactly right.
So we're just keeping an eye on car number 127 at the moment, and that, of course, is the vehicle of Shane Tenner and Ben Johnson in the Proton Satria GTI. So he's doing a pretty good job at the moment. Has been joined by Spud Wood, Peter Green Jr. up in the commentary box. So we'll have a quick chat with him in a second. But yeah, that Proton Satria GTI, it's been in a few different Wakefield 300s as well. And one of the, I guess, bad luck stories of the weekend so far as we watch Tony Ross and Paul Chapman in pit lane. It's, of course, the big fella Tampa Motorsport Clothing Car as we got the Falcon off again at turn 2. But he's managed to make his way back onto the circuit. We've been joined by Peter Green Jr. Peter, hard luck, mate. That was you guys are doing fantastic, and I believe you had a power steering issue.
Yeah, we went out for warm-up this morning, and the car was good, and we had a little bit of a power steering issue this morning. We thought we rectified it, but unfortunately it come back to haunt us.
Yeah, so what's the plan now? You guys, have you patched it up, or you've just gone out there with no power steering?
Oh, that's a good question. I was actually getting changed while they were doing it, so to be honest, I don't know.
Yeah, okay, well, you're full of information. But, no, how did you find the Mazda MX5? Of course, you flew up in your helicopter this morning and jumped in the car before the warm-up. You did a pretty good job, mate, and impressed a few people never driven the car before.
Oh, look, it's a great little car to drive. It's just a shame that they just lack a little bit in that straight line speed. Otherwise, they'll be a very, very competitive car. You know, in this category, like in this B main, it's very competitive. But if it had that little bit more, speed in the straight line, you've got cars out there that have got tons of speed in the straight line. If they can get around the corners, they'll actually be all right.
Yeah, well, hence our sister car, Nick Cansian, did a 103 flat yesterday to take pole position, and that's a turbocharged MX5. So those things go very, very well. Yeah, well, that's right.
As I mean, mate, they've got the straight line speed. They actually handle really, really well, and I was actually quite surprised the way it handled when I jumped on this morning. And I said to Ronky, I said, gee, this thing, and it stops as well, which is great. It's great on the brakes, and it's great turning. Just lacks that little bit of straight line speed.
So you're
out
there.
We'll come back to you in a sec, Pete. We'll come back to you in a sec. I just want to let our viewers on the live stream know that is the car leading the race as of the pit stop. When they entered the pits, they lost the lead. That is, of course, Ross and Chapman. And now our Sheridan Fitzgerald, our Fitzgerald entry's in the pits there now as well. So car number 35 in the pits, ready to go for their compulsory pit stop. That allows Peter and Robin Lacey to take the lead of the motor race, whilst we continue to watch Ross and Chapman, who have been in the pit lane now for 4.5 minutes. So it won't be long, and they'll be ready to leave the stable and head back out into the racetrack for the run home. 65 for 127. We're past halfway. Peter Green Jr., I'm going to let you continue talking to Terry Nottingham.
Yeah, Peter, you were out there for a good 40, 45 laps earlier. Well, what are the thoughts on the driving standards, and what are the other drivers doing out on the circuit?
Oh, look, it's because the cars are so far between. You know, like you got some quick cars down the straight, and then you got some quicker cars around the corners, and it's just hard to. Well, as I say, some of the guys, they're quick down the straight, but if they can get around the corners, they'll be up the front.
Brilliant pit stop from Ross and Chapman. 5 minutes, 5 seconds. You can't get much better than that. 5 minutes, 5 seconds. So well done to them. They're back out. They'll be an effective race leader once we roll through the pit stops, unless something goes wrong.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, guys. Check out Parry Anastakis as well. He's the fastest man on the circuit by about 3 seconds. 109.7 last time around. Fastest lap of the race on lap 57, a 109.4459. So we picked that. We knew that when Parry got in the car, he'd be quick, and he has been straight off the bat.
Exactly.
So we see the Targa Racing Mazda 6 Turbo Diesel come out of pit lane.
Fastest lap of the race, isn't it, that one?
Yep, fastest lap of the race. So Parry Anastakis, the man on the move. He's currently 5 laps down from Robin Lacey, but of course they need to make their compulsory 5-minute pit stop. Brett Waters did stay on the lead lap as he come into pit lane, so that'll be a car that's going to be well and truly in contention come the end of this race. Now, Junior, the clouds are starting to come along, mate. You're a bit of a weather expert, a bit of a wet weather specialist. What do you think's going to happen later on this afternoon for the A race with the weather? Give us your daily Bailey.
Well, I don't know, to be honest, Tez. I'm not a weatherman, I just like the rain, but I do the old rain dance, and that's about all I know about the weather.
Yeah, we see your car on screen at the moment having a bit of a battle with the Morcillo car. Adam Ronk up the inside, so they're going to go side by side. Ronk on the outside, massive move on the brakes, and the big fella clothing Tampa Motorsport car, he's still got it. He hasn't driven a race car for a while, Junior, but he seems to be peddling that thing around all right.
He loves his driving, doesn't he, Adam Ronk? Absolutely loves it. Pete, what's on? We've got a problem with Parry Anastakis. Parry Anastakis is slowing. Lachlan's alluded us to the point. He's coming out of the fish hook. He's limping. Another one of our contenders is in trouble here at Wakefield Park. He's pulling up on the inside of the circuit almost. Is he going to be able to make it back to the pits? I don't think so.
Will this be a safety car as well?
Unbelievable. So that's the Viner entry with the engine blown, and now Anastakis as well.
I'll tell you what, if this brings out a safety car, this will put Peter Lacey and Robin Lacey in the box seat. Yep. They will be in the box seat. They'll have a lap or two over the rest of the field. So I bet you they're praying down there that this brings out the safety car. Or, of course, car number 87
they get to the pits
of Rodney State and Doug Westwood in the BMW E36 328i.
No, that car's not going to make it.
No, this will be a safety car.
It is limping.
Jeez, you would have thought.
Don't call it yet. We're not. I've got race control on. The safety car is on standby, but that car is trying to get over the rise and then roll it down the hill.
It looks like it's going in limp mode, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is in limp mode, but no, it's not just in limp mode. It's in snail's pace mode. Have a look at this. Can it get back to the pits?
On the exit of turn 9.
I'm not backing it. I'm not backing it.
Hang on, can I see something underneath that car?
Oh, jeez. That's a hairy spot that it's in at the moment, no doubt about that.
And the owner of J&R Engine Developments, you're a bit of an expert on mechanical knowledge. Pete, what do you think's happened there?
The car's going slow, Terry.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
That's about all I know.
That's why you build good engines.
No, exactly right. Now, let's see if it can crawl down the hill.
That's a shame. Hopefully he can get the thing fired up again, because he's just about to go a lap down.
This is a huge moment in this race. The Lacey car will be staying out there. No doubt about that. Oh, a big waggle from the BMW, trying to avoid the car as they come through. And now we see that Ronk has got inside the top 20 as a result of all the drama having it around him. There's our race leader, the Lacey's, making their way through. They're going past Parry Anastakis like he's standing still.
Well, he nearly is standing still. So that's That's
Throttle
really...
cable. Throttle cable. Again.
So he's driving that back in first gear on the box. So that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
No throttle, just driving it back in first gear and rolling along.
If he can get it back, Tony Ross, Paul Chapman will be all very, very happy with that.
I'll be trying to go up the gears to get a bit more speed.
But the Lacey's will lose out completely.
Geez, that's a shame.
So
we've had two of our...
The slowest portion of Parry Aristarchus' life at the moment.
Two of our favourites at the moment have had issues. So
Parry Aristarchus had finished 6 Wakefield 300s out of 7 starts before today's race. It won't be a 7th finish.
Roland Rurl will jump into the car with himself and Ross Wood as well. So they've come into pit lane for their compulsory pit stop with 59 laps to go.
Now, I don't know if Aristarchus will be able to lift that along pit lane. Lachlan, we'll go to you.
Yeah, so a bit of activity happening down here in the pits at the moment around this halfway stage of the race. The Ben Johnson Shane Tanner car is in the pits. That car running very strongly in Division 6 at the moment. And also the number 14 car, the Honda Integra Type R for Peter Conroy Motorsport. Jack Thielen will get out of that car, handed over to Nick Spartan Callis for the run to the checkered flaggers.
Aristarchus has made it to pit lane, Lockie.
Yeah, Aristarchus has made it to the pit entry. What an agonisingly slow crawl back.
No,
you know what else?
Shattering.
You know what else, guys? Parry's going to have to be careful that he doesn't hold anyone up in pit lane too, because he's only doing about 1 to 2 kilometres per hour. You're not allowed to overtake in pit lane, so that's going to be another issue for whoever decides to come in and make their compulsory pit stop, which may even see the leaders very soon.
Park it at the top of the garage, so I wouldn't try and get it down pit road.
Well, he wants to finish, mate. He wants to get in there and fix his throttle cable. So, here he comes. He's got the team running up there. One of the most controversial and one of the most penalised drivers in the 300s is running that show down there, Stephen Anslow. So he'll be down there working hard on that car. One of your mates, Junior, is Steve Anslow, and he'll be down there doing something. Keyboard warrior.
Yeah, I met him for the first time this morning. He's not a bad bloke.
Yeah, good bit of banner, isn't it?
It is. It's a great banner, you know. Unfortunately,
safety car standing down, boys.
Both our cars have been in the pits today, and I know it's pushing them 10/10, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is, Peter. Oh, so Robin Lacey and Peter Lacey at the moment, they're out in front, but you'll probably find that'll be Paul Chapman who will lead this race once we have these 5 cars or 6 cars ahead of him make their way in the pit lane and do their compulsory pit stops.
Exactly. Pete, since Terry's been firing all the questions at you, I'm going to fire one, mate. After the 300, we know you've raced Pulsars, we know you race HQs. What's your agenda for 2015? Where will we see you and when?
Unfortunately, I haven't had a run in a Pulsar this year as yet. Hopefully I can get a run later on in the year in a Pulsar. The HQ category has gone leaps and bounds. And we're actually getting on some very, very nice events. We've got Top Gear event this year. So we'll be heading into Eastern Creek, or Sydney Motorsport Park known now. We'll be heading in there for Top Gear. I'll be taking 2 cars in there. I'll be driving one, and I'll have a surprise driver in the other one, which I can't mention at the moment. And then we'll head to the state round, and then we will be doing Muscle Car Masters again as HQs have got Muscle Car Masters for the next 2 years again. So that's great. You know, the club there, Dave Cameron, they're doing a superb job with HQs again.
And of course, Touring Car Masters that are on the V8 card at Clipsal this weekend, they're also returning to the Muscle Car Masters card after a 1-year absence last year. So that's big news there. So you get the best of both worlds, the touring cars of old and the HQs, which are a classic in Australian motorsport. So that's good. Who's going to win this race, do you reckon?
Oh, mate, it's going to be close up front. I think, as you said, if we do get a safety car, Lacey's, the Lacey boys, they're right into it.
They certainly are. 1 hour, 26 minutes and 50 seconds gone. We
I
have
like how you called them
71 laps.
Like how you called them the Lacey boys. One of them's a female.
Yeah, I know. That's right. I realised once I said it, Terry.
Oh, okay,
I didn't
good.
think you were going to pick me up on it. But
No, mate, I'll pick you up on everything, all right?
I just thought I'd let it slide. So
yeah, thanks, Zach. But you make a fool of me, Terry. That's fine.
That's all right, mate. It's all right. Made a fool of me at Bathurst, so payback's a bitch, isn't it? Let's go through the top 10. So we've got Robin Lacey yet to make their compulsory pit stop. Oh, I thought you were talking to me. Humble in second, Glenn Potter in third, Morcillo, the top 5 cars yet to make their compulsory pit stop. So things are going to change very, very soon. We've gone over our halfway mark here for the Wakefield 300 B main, and things will slowly but surely make a little bit more sense once you see these cars come into pit lane.
Yeah, we've got it on count. We've got about 5 cars that haven't pitted yet. Lawson, the number 4. So he's completed 66 laps. We go up to Herring in the 78. He's completed 67 laps. And no pit stop completed yet. But our race leaders, Lacey, Humble, Potter, 1, 2, 3, all still yet to make the pit stop.
Mark Morcillo, he's already made his compulsory pit stop and he's in the lead of this race. So Paul Chapman, he's a good... How far behind Paul Chapman is...
No, he had a drive-through penalty. That was 1.
Oh, there you go.
So he's not the leader. No. So, wait and see what unfolds here at Wakefield Park over the next few laps.
Here we go, the race leaders in pit lane. It's Robin Lacey. She'll hand the car over to Peter Lacey. This is the moment we've been waiting for. So where will they slot back into the action? Will they be ahead of Paul Chapman or will they be behind the Bavaria NA Mazda MX5?
Let's go to Lachlan Mansell down on pit road. We're about to see both the remaining cars in the top 3 yet to make their pit stop on pit road as well. Lockie in the next few laps, but the leader is there now.
Yep, so a great stint from Robin Lacey. That car's looking very, very strong for victory in Division 5 this afternoon. And her husband Peter Lacey will take over, of course. They won Division 5 last year and finished 3rd outright in the B main here at the Wakefield 300 as well. That leaves the Pinnacle Automotive BMW 328i Jason Humble as the race.
Awesome fun.
Talk me through the start of the race. Where did you start on the grid?
We started 16th on the grid and then had a few battles, went past a few cars and ended up 4th, which I didn't know about, so it's always good.
What were the instructions to your co-driver?
Just go out there and have fun, really. Just keep going.
And how's that Honda handling the Wakefield 300?
The Honda's a perfect machine for the Wakefield 300. They just go and go and go, and it's set up for this sort of driving. It's nice and relaxing. It's a perfect car for it.
Confident of a podium finish?
I'll see where we end up first.
Good luck.
Thank you.
His co-driver might get tired. He might have to jump back in, so he's going back down and put the race suit back on. Good on you, Pete. Good stuff, mate. 74 of 127, and Terry, Tony Ross, Paul Chapman in the box set at the moment.
Yeah, they are. It's going to be very interesting to see where the car of Robin and Peter Lacey pull out of pit lane. So here comes Chapman and Ross now down across the start-finish line. So will this put them ahead of the Lacey car? No. So Paul Chapman now on lap 71, Robin Lacey on lap 72. When she comes across the line, or when Peter comes across the line, when he makes his way into the car and they come out of pit lane, that will be lap 73. So Chapman will go onto the same lap as the orange Mazda MX5 NA. So Parry Anastakis now has now left pit lane, but well down, so he'll be very, very disappointed with that. That's a possible win that's gone begging.
So he may actually still get to finish this race, which would be great, keep his finishing record intact, but far from where he'd want to be. Pit window's still open here at Wakefield Park. Just get clarification from Lachlan Mansell very soon on... Actually, no, I think I've got it here in my commentary notes, what like the pit window shuts. Actually, it's not on my sheet. So that's okay. Maximum drive...
115,
sorry,
mate.
116, there we go, yeah. 21 to 116, so thanks for that. I had to find it right down the bottom of my sheet there, so good work, boys. Humble and Potter lead the way. We're going to have Humble and Potter in the pits no sooner than the next few laps.
Okay, so we're just trying to find the car. All right, so Paul Chapman's come across the line. A minute and a half until Peter Lacey can leave pit lane. Paul Chapman's going to do this easy.
Yep.
Easy peasy. So he comes down into turn number 7, the fish hook.
The race is gutted.
It's still Humble in the lead of the race.
Yeah.
In the BMW, Potter in second, Morcillo in third, yet to make their pit stop. So I'd expect that to come very, very soon. So Paul Chapman now comes across the back straight, and it's still Lacey in pit lane. They've still got a minute to go, 56 seconds before they can be released back onto the circuit in the traffic. And where's Batterham as well? That's another car we have to keep an eye on. That's the Holden Commodore. I think it's Michael Wedge behind the wheel of that one, and it is. So Michael Wedge back there as well. I think you'll find that he'll probably be in third position. Shivers will end up being second, I'd say. And Paul Chapman takes the unofficial lead of the race.
He certainly does. For the moment, you're right, Terry. Chapman fourth.
So there's the car on screen now, the Pinnacle BMW E36.
Oh, we've got a car circled over on the far side.
Oh, that's a...
And we've got another one
that's
up
a tyre.
here.
That's a tyre delamination. That's big time. Look at the...
And Bronk just had an off at the top of the hill as well.
Look at the tyre debris on the outside of turn 9, Zach.
Yeah.
Oh, he's lost the wheel. His wheel's gone.
It's gone.
Oh, no. He's the Ford Falcon EA, the Goss and Shaw. They've lost the wheel. How has that happened?
They're going to struggle to get that into the pits.
Oh, that's one thing that we've seen here so many times in the 300k races is people losing wheels.
Unbelievable drama here at Wakefield Park. Can you believe what's going on here?
You can see that wheel on the exit of turn 9. That's far enough off the circuit. I'd say not to call a safety car.
It was the left rear. Thanks again to Lachlan Mansell for clarifying that. We did see it on the television screen.
And stating the obvious.
Stating the obvious, yes.
So
we'll get in trouble for that.
He's just driving down pit lane, 3 wheels on my wagon. And car number 771, relatively new to this 300 stuff. Dave Shaw, Brad Goss in the Ford EB XR6, the truckright.com entered car. And he's going to come into his pit lane, and everyone's going to be standing there scratching their head and say, hey, bro, what happened to your left wheel, man? I lost it.
Okay.
So they're going to need to get a jack under that car and jack the thing up. They've gone down in a dummy grid area of refueling. There's the Dodge Banana Cup. Don't even talk to me about New Zealand.
They smashed us yesterday.
Not a fan.
Yeah.
It's Peter Lacey riding behind... Actually, Michael Wedge. So Peter Lacey, let's just have a quick look at this. Has Michael Wedge passed Peter Lacey? Yes, so Michael Wedge passed the GCE Mazda MX5, the Gold Coast embroidery-ended vehicle from Queensland, and he's made his way up in a 6th position. So once we get the pit stops out of the way, it's going to look like this. We have Paul Chapman in the lead, Rod Shivers in 2nd place in the AussieHire.com.au Honda Civic, and then Michael Wedge in 3rd, and Peter Lacey rounding out the top the top 4. And then car number 78. That's
Herring.
Yeah, the Herring
Harris
car. So
right
Tim Herring and Christy Herring in the Mazda MX5, the dark green machine. So we see McKee and Lawson come out of pit lane now. There's our car on screen that's currently in 2nd position unofficially. Was the Honda Civic. Blue flags are waving along the start-finish line.
Okay, we're being told from down in the pit lane that car number 141, the Morcillo entry, is out of here with the diff issue. Lachlan might be able to get onto that and have a chat with those guys about what's gone wrong. 109.1538 for Wedge the last time by. 75, his fastest lap of the race. Oh, he wouldn't want to go much faster than that. 109 is the cutoff.
Yeah, 109.1 for Michael Wedge. So, okay, here we go. We've got another driver who is very, very quick. So, obviously, Batterham, the slower of the two. Michael Wedge is getting everything out of that Commodore, but he doesn't want to go too quick. He doesn't want to break out, because if you're going to use your 3 breakouts or your 2 breakouts, you want to do it at the end of the race, don't you?
What, 125, 126,
yep.
127.
Exactly.
It's about the only time you want to use it.
So Parry and Estakis circulating around doing 1 minute 11s or 1 minute 10s now. So, geez, they're 2 cars that had really, really good pole. 1 car that had really, really good pace. But you boys had us the favourites, and unfortunately, throttle cable issue. You wouldn't believe it, would you? So here comes Michael Wedge. He's going to make his way across the start-finish line now in the Holden Commodore VX. And Wedge, that time around, with a 109.5. So he's the fastest man on the circuit at the moment by about 7/10. There's no one close to him. Chapman, 111.6. So that time around, Michael Wedge was 2 seconds quicker than the Mazda MX5 of Paul Chapman. Let's not forget, it's not just a matter of the outright contentions, it's for the class wins as well. And the leader of Division 5 at the moment doing a great job. Currently, third position outright is car number 164, the one-way racing Mark Morcillo and Reese Morcillo, Triumph Dolomite, turbocharged Rover V8. And leader of Division 6, Todd Herring, currently in 9th position in the Mazda MX5. Tim Herring, thanks Lockie. And Andrew Walker, the leader of Division number 7. So there are our class leaders as they stand at the moment with 47 laps to run in the Valvoline Wakefield 300 B main.
81 of 127. This is a very quick race too, Terry. A very quick race.
Yeah, it is. Well,
1 hour, 38 minutes.
We haven't seen a safety car yet.
No. Touch
wood.
Yep.
So let's keep it that way.
Exactly.
So I'm going to have to love you and leave you soon, guys.
Why?
Well, I've got a race I need to get ready for.
Well, this is true. However, you got more than an hour between the B main and the main because we'll have the supercar race. Sorry, the 50-minute supercar race. We're going to have Lachlan Mansell leave his position down there in pit lane now, but the pit window is almost closed. 82 of 127. Well, the pit window doesn't close for a few more laps yet, but...
Look at these clouds.
Yeah, look at them. They're coming over nicely, aren't they? But the point that I should make is the maximum driving number of laps is almost exceeded. So, excuse me. So therefore...
Oh, Jack, that was rude.
But what I was going to say was... So Lachlan's been down there whilst pit stops have been going in between the minimum number of laps allowed to complete and the maximum number of laps allowed to be complete. Pit window will still be open for another 25 laps or so, and then we'll call you through to the finish of this race. So at the moment, 82 of 127. It's all happening out there. It's been good fun so far. Humble is the leader. There'll be a 5-minute pit stop for him soon. There'll be a 5-minute pit stop for Potter soon. 27 seconds the margin at the lead of this motor race. We've already had so many casualties from in amongst the top 6. Peter Green Jr.'s car, of course, with Adam Ronk. The power steering went on that. We know what happened to the Viners. The engine blew at the top of the circuit. And also the Anastakis entry, the throttle cable. So 3 of our big contenders in the B main already striking trouble. 2 back out on circuit, 1 parked up the top.
So massive lead at the moment for Paul Chapman. Well, once the other 2 guys make their pit stops. And so here's the problem, Zach. There's Paul Chapman there coming out of turn 7. Are you watching?
Yes.
There he is coming through turn 9 now.
Yep.
There's Michael Wedge. He's only got a full lap lead over what will be our 2 race leaders come about 10 laps. So
which makes for a very...
Michael Wedge needs a safety car, and he needs one very, very soon if he wants to take advantage.
Makes for a very anticlimactic sort of finish, doesn't it? You got cars separated by a lap.
Yes and no. Let's have a look at the lap time. So Paul Chapman, the 111.0 that time around. Wedge with a 109.7. So he's slowly but surely, he's got the fishing rod out. It's on the back of Paul Chapman's car, and he's slowly reeling it in as we see our own Neil Crompton pop back up into the commentary box. So that's where I'll say goodbye to you lovely people. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and keep cool, keep your beverages and slip, stop and slap and whatever and blah, blah, blah.
Great to see you, mate. Good luck this afternoon. Terry Nightingale, ladies and gentlemen, stepping out of the commentary bunker. And we wish him all the very best for the 137 lap this afternoon. We know he's pumped up for it. Running Division 3 with Rob Hay. Keep an eye out for that car starting what position, Terry? 28th in the race this afternoon. 84 of 127 here. Get the 78 car on screen at the moment. We've got Potter in the pits. Potter is in the pits. His compulsory pit stop is now on for young and old. Herring, that was on our screen just a short while ago, but our second place car is in the pits as Lachlan Mansell jumps back into the bunker. Oh boy, what a dramatic day we've seen so far, Lockie, and we're not even halfway there yet.
No, still a very big and exciting main race to come this afternoon, that's for sure. Certainly pretty hot and hard work down there in the pits as well. But the situation is that a safety car now wouldn't actually help Michael Wedge all that much, because the safety car had come out in front of the race leader, which is Jason Humble. So Michael Wedge would be trapped almost a lap down if the safety car was to come out at this stage. What he really needs is for the safety car to come out after Jason Humble pits, which will have to be sometime in the next 4 laps, because Jason Humble's completed 84 laps and the maximum distance he can do in the car is 88. So pit stop coming up in the very near future for that car, you would expect.
Indeed it is. So Wedge now, they're in 6th spot. Peter Lacey 7th. 8th spot, Andy Harris. 9th spot belongs to Tim Herring. Great information being distributed by AVE in the live stream broadcast. You can see at the top of your screen there, on the left-hand side, the leader, the intervals, the intervals being displayed underneath that with the positions running through with the driver that's currently in the car. Above that, in the green, you can see what lap we're on. Ignore the fastest lap, though. I don't know if they've got that connected right, because that 2:04, I think, is from the Bathurst 12 hour, which is the last thing they produced for us a few weeks ago. Now, back to the front of the field. This is going to be interesting when Humble comes in to stop.
So Jason Humble continuing to lap very consistently. He's been in the car for a long time. He'll be very hot and probably a bit dehydrated by the time he comes back in, as we see that the Adam Rogg Peter Green Jr. car comes in as well.
Yeah.
And Peter Green Jr. about to get back into that car, so I would suggest that Adam Rogg's just gone out there, done his minimum number of laps, and Peter Green will probably drive that car to the flag.
Yeah. Beautiful day for it, Lockie, but look what's coming over.
Yeah, well, the forecast has been for rain, and it's starting to become not a question of if it's going to arrive, but a question of when.
Yeah, absolutely. Car into the pits now is our race leader. Humble is in. Here we go. Humble is into the pits. It's the last of the leaders to complete their compulsory pit stop.
The problem for him is that he's only got a 2-lap, or it's almost 3 laps actually, 2 laps and 54 seconds.
All eyes on this at the moment.
When Rod State gets into that car, he's probably going to be somewhere there or thereabouts in the top 5 as well. The problem is that Rodney State's not all that experienced in motor racing, so for him to be able to maintain that pace might be a bit of a big ask. Paul Chapman, a minute 10.5 last time through. Michael Wedge, a minute 9.05. Fastest lap of the race, and as close as you want to dare to going faster than the fastest allowed time of a minute 9 dead. He's gone within 500ths of breaking out.
It's always so interesting when you're watching the times, and in no other race is... Excuse me one moment, I just had a little bit of a breathe. Anyway, in no other race is the time so closely monitored as the Australian Endurance Championship. The breakout system adds yet another element of drama and excitement to what we're seeing here. And of course, when you do have a look at that, it's just another piece to the puzzle that could or could not ruin one's day. We've seen a few guys get pinged before for breaking out. It's just one of those unique factors that are involved in the Australian Endurance Championship. We've got 41 laps to go, or 41 and a bit, as our race leaders are making their way around. Chapman's just crossed the line on lap 84 of 80. Well, we're on at lap 86. Our leader is on lap 86 in the pits at the moment. So we're not far away from completing lap 86, which means there'll be 41 laps to go. And
still a fair way to go. It's still probably almost an hour.
Probably.
In terms of
1 hour
time.
47 is the time so far in this race. We are on track for a very, very quick B main here.
If we don't get any safety cars.
That's right.
Which the driving standards in this race have been exemplary, haven't they?
Yeah, that's exactly right. The driving standards have been pretty good.
And we're Glenn Potzer, car 66. The old Beamer's doing pretty well out there.
Yeah, no, we're pretty happy with it. We fell back in the pack because of that first lap incident, and it was hard work getting back. I don't know where I am because Greg's just been calling safeties and stuff like that. So what position are we in?
You came in second or third spot. You're right at the pointy end of the field. But tell me, first lap incident, what happened?
Well, I was going up the hill, and I left room on the inside for him, and he just bloody clobbered me, and the next thing I knew, I was on the dirt, you know. So I managed to get back on without getting right at the end of the pack, and then, Jesus, I had a lot of work to do to get some cars back. It was like a 20-lap sprint race for a while there. And then towards the end, I settled in a bit and just let the tyres come good. So, yeah, the 66 Jägermeister car's bloody going like a bullet at the moment.
And what instructions did you give your co-driver?
A couple of the fronts have got some flat spots on them here and there due to some traffic. Other than that, temperatures are good. Bring it home and we should get a reasonable result, I hope.
Podium finish?
Oh, we'd love to. Absolutely love to.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Of the official now, and the final car on the lead lap will be number 46 Holden VX Commodore V8 of Michael Wedge. Peter and Robin Lacey, they will be there as well. They're a lap down. Still, they're first in Division 5, so headed for a very strong result within their division this weekend. And I think it's getting to the stage now, Zach, where Chivas and Wedge probably need a safety car if there's a chance.
Yep.
What do you think? 10 laps to go, competition caution.
Well, there could well be. Have a look at that. There was a wheel parked in the sand trap somewhere around the circuit.
Yeah, but that was the one that came off the David Shaw car earlier on, so that's been there for a while. Oh, in fact, that's another one that's come off, because that car's coming back down pit lane, and this time it's the front left that's come off that car.
That's right.
Wow. So,
Andy Harris and Russell Harris's car just squeezing through on Morcillo at the top of the hill.
So I can't, unless they've had wheel studs shearing off or something, I can't believe that they've had two separate wheels, both on the left-hand side of that car, part company during this race. Doesn't do the underbody components of the car a whole lot of good dragging on the ground for almost a lap either, but that car is back in pit lane and they'll get to work on it.
Car 71 has retired from the race. He's run out of wheels. Car 71 has retired from the race. He's run out of wheels. That's what we've been told from race control.
Yep, and it's not your day. It's not your day. As we see the Rod State Jason Humble car back out onto the track after 5 minutes and 12 seconds in pit lane. Rodney State now at the wheels to bring that one home, and they will rejoin the race in position 5.
So, over on the far side of the circuit, we've got the delaminated wheel.
We've also got the rear bumper, which came off when that wheel came off, and then
we've got the new left wheel at turn 10 in the sand track.
Yep.
So it's in a safe enough spot that they've allowed this to continue under green. 89 of 127.
We say that there's a wheel lot of debris scattered around the circuit.
Yes, we do. And it's, for them, it's not really funny. It's really funny for us, though. Because we're like kids with school humour. Oh, schoolboy humour. Gotta love it, don't you? 89 of 127. Leader was Paul Chapman and Tony Ross. They have been brilliant. They've been front-running cars all the way. And they're a modern sports car competitor too. So for those of you that follow that series, they'll be, like, the modern sports car organisers will be stoked to see one of their cars coming out and doing this race. Unfortunately, one of their other cars, the Tiger Racing car, David and Rod Viner, blew an engine earlier. For those of you just joining us, you've missed a fair bit of drama here this morning at Wakefield Park. We're only 1 hour and 51 minutes in. We've been on air here at the circuit since 8:30 this morning. So we're already well and truly into our 4th hour on race day. And we've got another 5 and a bit to go, Lockie.
And Paul Chapman started to punch out some faster times now as well. He was faster than both Rod Chivers and Michael Wedge that time around. 50.1 seconds the margin between Chapman and Chivers. Michael Wedge is 57.1 seconds off the lead. Those 3 cars are the only 3 cars on the lead lap at this stage. Peter Lacey, the first of the cars, a lap down, first in Division 5. And he's about 30 seconds up the road from Andy Harris, who's in 5th position. Rod State back out onto the circuit in car number 87, the Pinnacle Automotive car, in 6th position. Rod Potter in the BMW E30 is 7th. Anthony Carter, the car that they're sharing with Paul Shacklady, is up to 8th. Tim Herring in 9th. And Nick Callis rounding out the top 10.
Not a lot in terms of positional battle at the moment. However, Wedge just took 2 seconds off Chivers that time by. So watch that battle for second and third on the racetrack in the next few laps. Everything else is fairly well spread out. Have a look at this. 4th, 5th, 6th, big gaps between them. So to 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. As Herring makes his way into the pits, 22 seconds into the pit stop now for Herring.
Yep, and this is actually the final car to do its compulsory pit stop, so they will drop outside of the top 10 with that stop having taken place.
Yep.
And so far, only the 4 retirements from this race.
The attrition rate not as high as what we probably expected, Lockie.
Although
but it's claimed some big guns, hasn't it?
Looks like they are going to put another wheel on car 771, so we might get back out there, in which case that'll take the number of retirements in this race to only 3. Greg Morcillo and Elliot Wright, they're out with a differential problem. We know that David and Rob Viner, who led the opening stanza of this race, are out with a blown engine. And the other retirement, John Newell and Glenn Coutinho, who set off that big signal of smoke, big plume of smoke that we saw earlier on in the race. So the reliability rate's been pretty impressive as well, Zach, especially when you consider that most of these cars are based on road-going cars. They're not purpose-built race cars in most circumstances.
Yeah, exactly right, Lockie. They're doing a very good job. I just say, club-level motorsport, we talk about the reliability, but today they've really stepped up to the plate. The cars have really gone strong. Except the cars that we expected to be strong have dropped off. Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing.
Heartbreaking retirement for the Viners.
Oh, wasn't it just? Ross and Chapman lead this race and lead it well.
I'll tell you what, when I go back down to do the pit reporting for the main race this afternoon, people are going to run for cover when they see me coming, especially if they're in a good position.
And rightly so.
Roll and roll now up into the top 10. So if Ross Wood finishes in the top 10, he will keep intact his very impressive record of top 10 finishes in the Wakefied 300. Ross Wood's been a long time campaigner in the Wakefied 300, and in all of his starts, he's only finished outside the top 10 once. So that would be another very good result for him. Chapman leads by 49.8 seconds. Michael Wedge now only 1.2 seconds behind Rod Chivers, and with just one lap's car separating them. So that battle is going to really heat up in the next couple of laps.
Not before too long. This is going to be the battle for second in the race. Chivers, Wedge, margin over 45 seconds between first and second in this race. So there's one person out there that won't be crying for a safety car, Paul Chapman.
Even if there was to be a safety car now, though, Zach, there'd still be a lot of laps traffic in between Paul Chapman and the cars behind him.
However, if they've got a faster car, Lachlan, that's going to be the problem.
It'd be a less comfortable margin for him.
Yeah.
But I think if the likes of Michael Wedge or Rod Chivers have any chance of winning this race, they need the safety car probably between now and 12 laps to go. Any fewer laps to go than that, then they're just not going to have enough time to work their way through the traffic.
Yeah, that's exactly right. 93 of 127 here at Wakefied Park. There's Russell and Andy Harris's car on our screen above it. Andy at the wheel, doing a great job in that car. They find themselves running in 5th position in this motor race, just behind Peter and Robin Lacey. The margin, 34 seconds between those two cars. And you betcha Andy will be pushing and pushing and pushing, trying to close that margin over the final 34 laps.
We've never had a Wakefied 300 of any description, A main or B main, without a safety car intervention.
Yeah.
In fact, the fewest number of safety car interventions we've had has been 2. Yep. And with 34 laps to go, we're yet to see an appearance from the safety car this afternoon. So could this be the first safety car free race of any description in the Wakefied 300?
Do you want to put the mocker on something else this afternoon?
So the battle is close now. Michael Wedge only a couple of car lengths behind Rod Chivers as they head down the straightaway. The gap, 8/10 of a second as they cross the start-finish line. And the advantage here for Michael Wedge is with the horsepower of the V8 Commodore.
Yep.
If he can get close enough coming out of one of the corners, he'll just be able to cruise past Rod Chivers in a straight line.
But Rod Chivers is going to have the advantage over the top end of the circuit, you would think, Lachlan. They go past some lap traffic now, and now he's, oh, geez, he was very close there. He got balked a little bit. Did our car in third spot, of course, Wedge. But Chivers is holding on to second and doing it just. He won't hold it for long, though, because if he can't get the margin over the top of the hill, and Wedge is there as they go into the two long straights here, one between turn 9 and 10, the other between turn 10 and 1. It's going to be game over in the battle for second very, very shortly.
I think Rod Chivers got a bit better run over the top of the circuit that time around, but now they're coming onto the main straight. This is the part of the racetrack where the Commodore comes to the fore. Let's check the margin. It was 8/10 last time around. A minute 9.7 for Chivers, a minute 10.0 for Wedge. So Chivers just easing out the margin a little bit that time through. Leader of Division 4, first outright is Paul Chapman. Leader of Division 5, in fourth position outright is Peter Lacey. Leader of Division 6, in 11th position outright.
I'm with Tim Herring, car number 78, the Mazda. Tim, you just did your driver change. How was your stint?
It was good fun. I'd like to go again. Bit slippery, but no, good fun.
So where did you start on the grid and where did you just come in?
19th, I think we're about 9th to 10th.
So that's a fair few cars you've pegged back there. Talk me through it.
We drove the car as hard as we could, and that was about it, and just hung on. It was good. All the other guys out there were good. Just let them through and just had a bit of fun.
Now you've handed over to Kirsty. Christy, yes, what are your thoughts of her as a driver, and can she bring it home?
Mate, she'll bring it home sweet. She'll just drive it home and we'll finish good.
And what are your expectations from here? Where would you like to finish?
Finish the race and take our grade out and be good.
Well, good luck.
No worries, thanks for that.
Division 6 is being led by Shilan. Division 7 being led by McKee. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Division 7 cars make up the back end of the field.
And we've got a problem for the number 10 Hyundai XL of Dave and Scott Williams, the mobile Hyundai dealer team car. It's pulling off on the right-hand side of the circuit before turn number 1, and that is our fourth retirement officially of the Valvoline Wakefield 300.
There we go, eh? That's a shame for them. They'll park that. That's in a safe enough spot, we think. So they'll get away with that. No safety car. We'll continue on. 31 laps to go.
Perry Anastakis continues to punch out very fast times as well. They'll be absolutely heartbroken about that broken throttle cable because he was shaping up to be probably one of the cars capable of challenging Paul Chapman for the outright victory in this race, but as it is at the moment, he's 9 laps behind our race leader and well and truly out of contention to do anything other than pound around, accumulate laps and try and make up positions as other cars fall by the wayside.
So where does this leave us? It leaves us with second and third being separated by about 7/10 of a second. At the moment, Chivers is doing an almighty job holding on to second position. Wedge is their third. Lacey is fourth. Has only 19 seconds now over Harris. So Andy Harris is flying home. 9/10 of a second faster than Peter Lacey the last time by. The 44 is back out there with Anastakis at the wheel. They're running down in 16th position on the racetrack. Green Jr. up into 12th. So with all their problems, they could still, you know, if things go wrong for some other cars, they could still end up in the top 10 finish here, which is insane.
Especially given that Peter Green Jr. is about 5 seconds quicker than the cars ahead of him. That's a distinct possibility at the moment. They could get themselves up into the top 10. Probably can't go much beyond that, I don't think, because they're just too many laps back. But you're right about Andy Harris. He's lapping very quickly, and he's only 21 seconds behind Peter Lacey. So with 30 laps to go, and Andy Harris lapping as quickly as he is, there is a very real possibility that he could catch up and overtake Peter Lacey for fourth position before the end of this race. How's the battle for going for second? Well, there's been a change while we were focusing on some of the other cars in the field. Michael Wedge now up into position 2. He's relieved Rod Chivers of second spot.
He's an awesome steer of the wheel, as Peter Green Jr. We were talking about him a moment ago. He was up here earlier in the race to have a chat to Terry and I. He's just moved into 11th spot in this motor race. So he is charging as Peter Green Jr. They're 6 laps down, but they're only a lap off the car that's in 10th spot at the moment. They get a safety car, they unlock themselves, they get another safety car, and then it's game on. Who knows what's going to happen over the next 30 laps, of course, or 29 laps as it is now. Let's be perfectly honest. There's bound to be one more bad luck story in that top 10. We've seen enough of them today. There's bound to be one more. Green Jr. is still in the box seat for a top 10 finish here, and that will have come from nowhere. Chapman leads. Wedge second. 47 seconds the margin between 1 and 2. 1.3 seconds the margin between Wedge and Chivers. So Wedge has now got the job done for second position in this motor race. Lacey is fourth. Harris is fifth. Then you go back to State, Potter, Carter. So the Shack Lady Carter entry. Targa Racing up into the top 10. Callis is 9th. Rawl is 10th. And then you go back to Green Jr., Shalan, Tanner, Morcilla, and Morcillo, I should say, and then Herring making up the top 15. Lap 100.
So there'll be 27 laps remaining at the end of this one. And the margin between Michael Wedge and Paul Chapman is just closing ever so slightly each lap. 47.6 seconds it stands at the moment. So still, I think the bottom line is that unless there's a safety car, it'll be very difficult for Michael Wedge to win the race from here. Unless, of course, there's a mechanical problem. We don't wish bad luck upon anyone, but a mechanical problem for Paul Chapman, that would open the race up as well.
We're past the 2-hour mark of this motor race. Fastest lap of the race just then. Chivers has broken out. The first one of the day. 1 minute 8.58 if you don't mind. 1 minute 8.9 the last time by also for Hedge. So he's broken out as well.
Yeah, so both Michael Wedge and Rod Chivers breaking out. That's their first strike for both of those cars. The thing is, they're battling each other for track position for second. And I think they're probably a bit preoccupied by that and not thinking about the fastest times that they're allowed to record. They get to do it once more. The third time they do it, they get a 5-lap penalty, so they have to be careful.
Wow. Unbelievable. Chapman, Wedge, and of course Chivers, the top 3 at the moment. Watch Wedge and Chivers, because for the time being, as Lachlan said, they're embroiled in a ding-dong battle, and therefore they may break out once or twice. They've already broken out once.
Yeah, we'll keep a very close eye on the lap times that they record. I don't think they will have broken out this lap because they were both busy negotiating their way through some lapse traffic. Michael Wedge to the strike, a minute 10.7. And through goes Rod Chivers. Sounded like he missed a gear or something, and a minute 11.5 for him, so no danger of breaking out that time round. And no doubt the owner of that car, Mike Fitzgerald, has probably just got on the radio and said, watch out, we can't afford a penalty at this stage, because if we were to be penalised 5 laps, it wouldn't just take us off the podium, it would take us right to the tail end of the top 10.
Yeah, exactly right. Wow. So we've already seen a lot of drama in this race, Lachlan. Will the A-main match it or better it?
I'm sure it will.
102 of 127. Oh,
we may not have had safety cars in this race, but I can't see that staying the same for the main race. I think we will definitely see safety cars in the main race.
For those of you watching the live stream, you'll have noticed that the green box has run out of room for the lap count on AVE. Just a small observation there. Of course, for the 12-hour, it was only time. They weren't running a lap count at the top there. So this is the same graphics, the same system we got from the Bathurst 12-hour a few weeks ago. Just a few less on-screen graphics during the broadcast. As Chapman leads, Wedge, Chivers, Lacey and Harris. How good is this? So Harris is now only 15 seconds off Peter Lacey. by our count. But
Yeah.
they're the first 2 cars a lap off the lead. We have 3 cars on the lead lap at the moment, Lachlan.
And the margin between Peter Lacey,
And we're 25 from home.
the margin between Peter Lacey and Andy Harris is ebbing and flowing depending upon where and when they're catching up to traffic. Both of them had pretty traffic affected laps that time around because it was a minute 12.3 for Lacey compared to a minute 12.7 for Andy Harris. But Harris has now cleared most of that lap's traffic, so he'll be able to press on, whereas Peter Lacey's about to reach a big group of cars who are all battling for position. So Lacey, you think could probably be held up a bit in the next lap or two. We talk about traffic management, and those of you who are tuning in, who are regular listeners to the Radio Le Mans podcasts and coverage of races, would know that traffic management's a big factor in GT endurance racing as well, and a lot of you probably tuned in to watch the Bathurst 12 Hour. Well, in many ways, this race is a good stepping stone to events like that because it does teach drivers about the skill of traffic management. It teaches them how not only to overtake slower cars, but also how to be overtaken by faster cars. And we've seen some of our Wakefied 300 competitors compete in the Bathurst 12 Hour. Adam Dodds raced in the Bathurst 12 Hour before. Robert Hackwood was in the Bathurst 12 Hour this year. And of course, our reigning Wakefied 300 champions, Andrew McPherson and Brad Shields, they're not on the grid this year, but they raced in the Bathurst 12 Hour as well.
Well, that car 10 car is reporting that it's got no way of moving, so they're going to have to get towed off the circuit. That's, of course, the Hyundai that's sitting on the infield here on the start-finish straight. I'm just getting that through on our radio at the moment. The driver was asking, can I get back, somewhere and do something other than just sit here? The answer is no. So, unfortunately, for Williams, stuck there at the moment. Chapman leads, French second, Chivers third. 1.4 seconds the margin between those 2 cars. The battle for second and third is still on.
Just having a look at the clouds outside, I still reckon that any rain that we might get this afternoon is still probably a couple of hours off at least.
Yep.
Just as we have a look at the updated weather forecast, it looks like the chance of rain may have diminished a bit, in fact, because they're now talking about a 30% chance at 1 p.m. and only a maximum of a 60% chance of rain at 5 p.m. So,
wow,
possibly that the possibility of rain maybe not so prevalent as what it was earlier in the day, but you can see those clouds starting to roll in, so absolutely no guarantee that it will be a completely dry main race this afternoon.
No, let me see if I can get an updated forecast from the Bureau, because they are usually pretty accurate on those things, more so than anyone else we know.
Michael Wedge has just broken out again for a second time, a minute 8.8, so he's got no strikes left. Next time he does it, it's a 5-lap penalty.
That's the car in second spot, a 5-lap penalty. That is insane, and going to be cruel if it happens as well. But they're the rules, unfortunately, for those that are playing along at home.
Paul Chapman, a minute 11.5, 40.4 seconds the margin back to Michael Wedge. 22 laps remaining in the motor race.
They're closing the gap to Chapman.
Yeah, but they've had to break out to do it, don't forget, so...
Although then again, Chapman, that being said, he's probably 40 seconds, probably post-time as well.
With 22 laps to go, it means that they have to keep lapping at about 2 seconds a lap slower, at least, if they're to make up that gap. And I'm not sure that they're going to be able to do that without breaking out. As Michael Wedge comes to the line a minute 9.5 that time.
Right up, minute 9.5. Minute 11.76 for Chivers. So he was a lot slower that time by. In fact, the margin's extended out to 4.6 seconds. And that's lap traffic playing its part here in the Wakefied 300. And must have made a little mistake as well, Chivers, I think, because he's lost a hell of a lot of ground.
Or it might have just been a traffic-affected lap for him that time around. So there are some cars out there that are doing quite slow lap times at the moment. Rod Potter's last lap was a minute 18.6. Anthony Carter a minute 15.0. So there's a few cars that are potentially going to lose some positions before the end of this race.
So lap 107 of 127. So we're getting towards the closing stages now. Many of these drivers, Lockie, have managed to purchase their ticket from you for the final 20 laps. As we see more still on screen there. And then the 87 as well. The 87, of course, with state in the wheel. As they make their way down towards the bottom corner once more. Now,
it's not over yet. Michael Wedge was another 2 seconds a lap quicker than Paul Chapman that time through.
That's right.
The margin 36.5 seconds, 21 laps to go. If he can keep taking 2 seconds a lap out of Paul Chapman consistently, he will catch him by the end of this race.
If he gets a safety car, he'll catch him even quicker.
Chapman across the line, a minute 10.7 that time around. If Chapman can lap in the 10s, that's enough, because Wedge can't go 2 seconds quicker than a 10 without breaking out.
Yeah. Exactly right.
One safety car though.
But no one can go break out regardless. However, as you said, Wedge is on the second straight.
One safety car changes everything.
Yeah. Could be the real game changer in the w 300. Well, it was already a game changer when Anastakis broke the throttle cable when Feiner blew the engine. Well, they didn't. He didn't blow the engine, but the engine blew on him.
Rod Chivers is just struggling a bit with that car. His last time around was a minute 14.5 and a minute 17.3. That Civic's got dramas. It's not performing at its full potential at the moment. It's 9 seconds slower than it's gone in this race.
However, thankfully for it, still a significant margin between it and the next car of over a lap. And they're keeping an eye on car 4 as well. Maybe a driver with no gloves there in the key, believe it or not.
Well, that's a very basic error.
Yep. Graceful error, if that's the case. It's a schoolboy sort of thing, amateur hour, bush league.
It's like not wearing your balaclava.
Yeah, actually, I was talking to a mate of ours last night, and he said, we were talking about Ambrose's chances at Bathurst this year, and he said, as long as he wears the balaclava, it'll be fine. I bet you can guess who it was, too. He'll probably actually be watching from the media centre at the Clipsal 500 at the moment. Hello to you, Jonesy, if you are tuning in. And on to the main straight come Robin and Peter Lacey now. And this car has run faultlessly all day. They're 4th position. They're lead of Division 5. The 3 cars on the podium are all Division 4 at the moment. Don't worry about that. They're gone. Unless Wedge and Chivers, unless Wedge breaks out once more. Although he did a minute 11 that time by.
Well,
Chapman was faster that time by. Look at this!
And Peter Lacey's just unlapped himself from Rod Chivers as well. So those 2 cars are now on the same lap.
Exactly right.
So once again, Rod Chivers pretty slow that time around, a minute 16.2. And Paul Chapman just opened up a bit of breathing space over Michael Wedge then as well, a minute 11.2 compared to an 11.5 for Wedge. 36.4 seconds the margin. 18 laps to go at this stage, and we're 2 hours and 15 minutes into the Valvoline Wakefied 300 B main with still no appearance from the safety car.
How good is it to have an all green race? I mean, yeah, okay, the field spreads out, the race can get a little bit, I guess, processional in stages, but to see guys like this go for 110 laps without a safety car, just hell for leather, it's great to watch. It really is. 2 hours, 16 minutes in, and the wheel there at turn 10 has found itself a new home and a new owner for the afternoon. Sand Trap, proudly, furbished by Sam down there.
You know what, from a New South Wales fan's perspective?
Yes.
Oh, as we've got Rod Chivers into the pits.
No.
I'll come back to that point because I was about to say that 3 of the top 4 cars are from Queensland. Well, it could actually be all of the top 3 very shortly because Rod Chivers is in the pits with an elevated Lacey car from Queensland onto the podium. Paul Chapman and Tony Ross are Queenslanders. Michael Wedge and Peter Batterham are both Queenslanders, and so too are Robin and Peter Lacey. So he could be headed for a Queensland podium lockout in the B-main here at the Valvoline Wakefied 300. And as a born and raised New South Welshman, Zach Caven, you should know better than to applaud about that.
No, I love the Queenslanders. I do, and it was a bit of purple swallow last year when we lost the Origin. I must admit. Anyway, like 111 to 127. And I wasn't expecting Lachlan Metzer to give out the info that I am. Oh, here we go.
So Robin and Peter Lacey,
they're going to third. They're going to third. Yep. So they've just unlapped themselves on that car that's in pit lane, Chivers, and they have taken third in the Valvoline 300. 1 lap, 1 minute down on our race leader. Our race leader is Chapman, and now Harris is there. It's just 3.2 seconds separating them two at the moment. Russell and Andy Harris are having an almighty run in fourth. Chapman leads this race by 39.1 seconds. That margin has sort of not fluctuated in the last couple of laps. It's stayed steady at 39 seconds. So they're home and hosed if they just keep it on the black stuff, the Chapman and Ross car, and they don't have any, touch wood, mechanical dramas. Wedge is there second, holding on nicely. He just has to limp the thing home as well because he's got that bigger margin between Lacey and Harris. It's not even funny. So we've got 16 laps to go. All eyes on Chapman, all eyes on Lacey, all eyes on Harris at the moment in this Valvoline 300 B main. And Wedge is in the pits. Wedge is in the pits. Wedge is in the pits.
Wow, so two of our top three cars into the pits. Dramatic stuff down in pit lane at the moment. And here we go. This is Andy Harris's chance to restore some pride for New South Wales because he's now within striking distance of an outright podium finish in the Valvoline Wakefied 300 B main.
I wasn't expecting you to just hand out on air the info on where I was born and raised, but thank you for that, Lachlan Mansell. Chapman leads this race. The Queenslander doing it nicely. He's trekked down south for this event and loving it. And is it just me or has it just got a little bit darker out there, Lachlan?
I think it has just got to be a little bit darker. Andy Harris is driving that car for all it's worth. It was a great, consistent opening stint for his father, Russell Harris, and they are as close as what you would call a local team. They're from just up the road at Mittagong in the southern highlands of New South Wales. Andy Harris, he was fourth outright with Michael Hall in the Winter 300 last year. Now he's sniffing at potentially a podium finish. He has a look on the outside of Lacey at the Fishhook, not able to do it that time through. He'll get a good run out of turn number 9, the mid-corner speed of that number 70 NB Mazda MX5 is superior, and down the inside at turn 10, change in third position.
Brilliant move from Andy Harris. You were right about the stint from Russell at the start of the day. I spoke to him last year. Lacey fighting back on the inside. This isn't over yet, Lachlan Mansell. Peter Lacey goes back to third position on the inside of Andy Harris. They make their way down the main straight. Wedge makes his way back out of the circuit. This is now the battle for second, third, and fourth in the motor race. This is unbelievable stuff. Lacey and Harris and Wedge are all going to be fighting for the last two positions on the podium. Only two of them will get the positions. One will miss out. But at the moment, they're first and second in their respective divisions. Lacey is leader of Division 5. Wedge and Harris are second in Divisions 4 and 5 respectively. It is all opened up in the last few minutes.
Oh, and a laps car as well, the Herring car
Harris.
there. As they get down the inside, Harris, a big look on the outside of the Fishhook. Lacey will drive it down the inside there once again. Not able to make the move through that time around. Good awareness from that number 78 car to sidestep those two battling Mazda MX5s and make sure that they weren't impeded in that battle for track position.
I spoke to Russell Harris last year at the Modern Sports Car round. He said, I'm happy to team up with the boy, but I'm going to let him do all the hard work, do the long yards. And that's exactly what's been the case here. I was surprised when I saw them in the entry list because I was like, well, Russell and Andy have only been doing the 1 hours, but they had a crack at the 3 hour, and it's paying dividends for them. They're sitting in third position in the B main. The pit window's still open for a few more laps, so we'll wait and see what unfolds there. Wedge is still sitting fourth spot. Can he get back onto the back of Lacey and Harris? We'll wait and see. Now up the hill they go. And look at the 14 up on the outside of that car of Wedge. That car has got trouble. That car has got problems. That car should not be able to be passed that easily by Callis. That is unbelievable. So our race leader is about to come up and put a second lap on them. Ross and Chapman at the top of the hill there. They're about a few seconds off putting an extra lap on Wedge as they come out of the Fishhook once more. It is Peter Lacey. It is Andy Harris. It's the men having a good old ding-dong. This is New South Wales versus Queensland. It's local Goulburn, Mittagong pride. or Southern Highlands Pride on the inside of the Queenslander and putting one on him as they go into turn 10. Back to the main straight they come. What will Peter Lacey do on the exit? Down the main straight. This is an exceptional battle. He's dragging back past on the inside. That thing of Andy Harris has got nothing in a straight line on Peter Lacey. Now Peter Lacey slows down and Andy Harris goes back through on the outside. Unbelievable motor racing between these two. So this is the battle not only for second position in the motor race, but also for first position in Division 5. 12 laps to go. Oh, sorry, Harris is a Division 4 car. Sorry, I'm getting too excited. Lockie.
I don't understand why Peter Lacey slowed down on the main straight there, unless he missed a gear or something, but that ended up being a much easier pass from Andy Harris than what I expected. I was about to make the point that where Harris is making up all his time is in the corners. The car was able to carry a lot more speed through the corners than Robin and Peter Lacey.
And with Peter Batterham, car number 46, you're in second spot. You came in for what must be an unscheduled pit stop. What happened?
Well, Wedgie was out there cutting some laps and had a little bit of fuel surge. Thought he was low on fuel. Came in, we had a check. He's sweet. He's back out. He's back into it, going again.
Have you dropped positions?
We have. Unfortunately, we've dropped 2 positions in that pit stop, but he's a pretty keen driver. I reckon he'll get him back up.
12 laps to go. Can you finish on the podium?
We hope so. We've done very well so far today, and Wedgie's got it in him, so I reckon...
They're not allowed to go faster than a minute 11.
That's exactly right. And their fastest lap is a minute 10.9, so they've broken out once. Pit window closed. Pit window now closed here at Wakefied Park. Oh, wow. We've got 11 laps to go. Oh, no! Marcelo off at the top of the hill. Is that the top of the hill? Yes, it is. Right up the top of the hill. And Marcelo back onto the racetrack, but limping home. Oh, no, be careful, be careful, be careful. Yep, okay.
That was a bit of a hearty-mouth moment for some of those cars that were coming down the hill, including our race leader, Paul Chapman, who now leads this race by 1 lap and a minute, 0.3, so it's almost 2 laps. And he's extended over the rest of the field as a result of some of those other top cars coming in for unscheduled pit stops with dramas. Michael Wedge is back in the pits as well.
I was just about to say, Chapman's now got 2 laps on him. Unbelievable stuff here. Chapman just limps it home from here. He's pretty much home and hosed at the moment. Got a good margin of over 2 minutes in time, and 1 lap and a minute in the effective, overall grand scheme of things on Andy Harris and Peter Lacey. Unbelievable stuff from them today. Chapman and Ross, they led the most of the opening stint. Ross was brilliant. Chapman's taken over. Luck's gone their way, and they've come back to win, to lead this race with only 10 to go. Lap 118 of 127. 2 hours, 25 minutes of motor racing. We are heading for a super quick B main here at the Valvoline 300.
So after spending almost 7 minutes in pit lane, the number 35 Honda Civic, which was in a podium position, is now back out, but Rod Chivers is back in 11th position and he's 7 laps down on Chapman.
Morcillo in the pits. Morcillo in the pits. Our camera's heading down there to have a look at that now. There's smoke coming out of the front of that car, so their day, I dare say, will be
done.
Thank you.
Complete all over Red Rover.
That's the way. Lap 118. The leader is car 175. What a motor race this has been for the B main. I was a little bit worried when I came into the track this morning. I didn't say anything before we went racing, but having a 25 car field, having a 3-hour race, there hasn't really been much of a lull of this. There's always been something going on. That's the beauty of these events.
Well, how about the battle for positions 4 and 5? Rodney stayed in the BMW 328i. Glenn, it's actually Rod Potter right behind him in the BMW 30. Now, we saw that the BMW 30 of Anthony Deanna and Dave Stilwell finished 4th outright in the B main last year and 3rd in Division 4. If Glenn Potter can get past Rodney State, then he'll replicate that result today.
It's 3rd and 4th in Division 4. That's their battle. Now, down on the inside. Got it. Beautifully done. Potter. Nice work. Our race leader's making his way into the fishhook for the 9th last time. Chapman and Ross, what a performance this has been.
I'm with Reese Marcello, car number 164. Steam flowing from behind you. I'll have onions and tomato ketchup on one.
Yeah, well, I was just pushing a bit too hard around the top and ran wide and just off the track and pushed the radiator back, so I think it's game over from there.
I've seen the fan out a few times today. Has it been an ongoing problem?
Yeah, it's just that the radiator sits so low when it comes under. It pulls the water pump off, and then we lost it from there, so it's just overheating now. So
race over, or can you fix it?
No, I think race over for now.
Oh, well done. You almost made it to the end. Go and get a sausage.
Yeah, well, it's my first race. I'm 17, so nearly there. Just a bit more experience, and it should be there. But yeah, go back and
sum up your experience.
Yeah, no, it was good. I was doing all right. I think I was trying to push too hard for what state the car was in, and from there, I think I learned from that.
Better luck next time.
Yeah, thank you.
What did I say about Peter Green and Adam Rock, eh? Peter Green Jr. and Adam Rock are now in the top 10. This is extraordinary.
Here comes the Michael Wedge piece batter of Commodore back out onto the circuit after another lengthy pit stop.
2 unscheduled pit stops for them.
Yep, they'll come back out in 8th position.
So much still to play out here over the remaining 8 laps. We are 8 from home. That's 17.6 kilometres. What's going to happen next?
What's going to happen next is an absolute cracker of a main race this afternoon, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Possibly
I mean in the final 10 minutes of this one. So Ross and Chapman's car heads down to turn 1 and through on lap 121. 7 laps from home.
Let's be honest, it's not going to be the blockbuster finish that we had at Winton last year, because Chapman leads this race by a lap and 55 seconds, so we're not going to have quite that level of intensity and excitement, but still there's certainly been plenty of drama, plenty to talk about right throughout this race.
Indeed. Where do you start when people ask you to review it? This has just been magnificent entertainment this morning. It's what you like about endurance racing.
Now, we spoke no more than 5 minutes ago. You came in second spot. You shot back out in 4th. It was all on for a podium finish. You're back in. What happened?
Yeah, we still have fuel surge issues, apparently. The lift pump's not picking up the fuel that we need. We go around corners and the thing's starting to miss and cut out. But on the straights, we're good. So we've given him 10 litres of fuel, sent him back out. Hopefully he can get us through.
10 litres, 10 laps. Is that enough?
Let's hope. It needs to be.
And where have you dropped to now?
Unfortunately, we're now down to 8th, so who knows where we'll wash up, but we're trying hard.
Top 10 finish?
That'd be awesome right now, yeah.
Fingers, toes, everything's crossed.
Everything's crossed. Hopefully we'll get across the line.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Another battle going on for 4th and 5th, which is now kind of going the way of the Potter entry. Then you've got the car in 6th, which is only 5 seconds off State, who is 5th, and then 2 seconds behind him, a few seconds behind him is the car in 7th, which is now 4 laps down, and then the rest of the field is very well spread out. But that first 6 is, considering the length of the race, considering the different cars, the different types, they're still pretty well bunched up. Lap 122 of 127. Reminder for those of you trackside, supercars are coming up very shortly, a 50-minute race for them, after Lockie and I have a bite to eat, that is. And then the outright race will get underway at around 2:20 Eastern this afternoon. Now, if the rain hits, chances are we'll see a time certain race there. That is the slight possibility. 3 hours 35 plus 1 lap we've got to complete the A race this afternoon. Hopefully the rain doesn't play as big a part as it did in the 2012 edition, or the 2010 edition, when we had a time certain finish. We don't like time certain finishes. We much rather see the laps run the distance. Or the race run the lap distance, I should say. My co-commentator's gone quiet all of a sudden.
So just a reminder as well, we'll be having the B-Main podium presentation after this race, where we'll present trophies to the top 3 in divisions 4, 5, 6 and 7, and also trophies for the top 3 outright. plus there will be some liquid refreshments of the fizzy alcoholic variety for the top three outright as well. Good to see that the Valvoline promo girls have arrived. They'll be down on the podium for some photos also.
Just say champagne, please.
I will on the podium, as you very well know.
Oh, God. Lord help us. I shouldn't have encouraged it. All right. 124 of 127 as Ross and Chapman pass the start-finish line. 4 laps to go. What a performance this has been from these guys in the 175. Great performance.
Big thing I'm going to have to watch is making sure my race suit doesn't get soaked with champagne, because then I'd have to get it dry clean, which would be expensive.
Oh, God. I went and got my suit, like my actual formal function suit, cleaned recently. The 2 pairs of pants, the jacket, and the shirt for $35. I thought that was a good deal. I don't think that's anything worth whinging about. Some people tie their wallet up very, very tightly, people. And Lachlan Vensel's one of them. Chapman leads, Harris there second, Lacey third, Potter fourth, just crossing the line there. Now, of course, 1 lap, 52 seconds the margin between first and second. He's got 11 seconds back to Robert and Peter Lacey, has Andy Harris. So that's a big margin, but Lacey doesn't want to break out. He's going to win Division 5 if he stays there. What a great performance it's been.
It's shaping up to be another Mazda MX5 1, 2, 3, which is what we saw at the Winton 300 last year as well. Best of the non-MX5s have been the BMW of Glenn and Rod Potter in position 4. Rod State in position number 5, also in a BMW. Then we go back to the Mazda MX5 of Paul Shacklady and Anthony Carter in 6th. The Honda Integra Type R for Peter Conroy Motorsport, Nick Callis and Jack Phelan in 7th position now. Michael Wedge and Peter Batter and the Commodore 8th after that couple of unscheduled pit stops. Roll and Ross Wood in 9th position. Peter Green Jr. and Adam Ronk rounding out the top 10 at this stage. 3 laps remaining in the B-main for the Valvoline Wakefied 300.
If this doesn't get you excited for this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, you haven't been watching enough of it. You haven't been paying close attention. This is fantastic.
Well, we're heading for a B-main race record, aren't we?
We certainly are. 2 hours 34. Jesus, it's gone quick. 2 laps to go now as as Chapman crosses the line. 2 laps to go. Less than 3 minutes left of racing. Less than 2.5 minutes left of racing, really.
We're going to be well ahead of schedule.
We are going to be well ahead of schedule, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. Because the supercars will get out there for their 50-minute race, and then we'll have a bit of time to get the 300 cars out on the grid and ready to go at 2:20 Eastern this afternoon. This is great stuff. 2 hours, 35 minutes, 10 seconds. The race time so far. We are on the penultimate lap of the Valvoline Wakefied 300 B-main. Tony Ross and Paul Chapman, what a performance. They've been right at the pointy end of the field every step of the way. That car has not missed a beat. It hasn't even broken out once. And they are heading for an emphatic victory here of over a lap by the competition. We are going to get the last lap board any tick of the clock down the main straight. The last lap board will be indicated this time by as Lacey goes through. There is our leader starting his last lap now.
And Michael Wedge back into the pits too, so more problems for that car. The other interesting point too is that we keep talking about the fact that the Wakefied 300 has never been won from pole position. Well, this will be the first race of any description.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't quite count because it's the B-main and not the main race. Well, Tony Ross and Paul Chapman did start it from pole.
Yep. So then maybe that's a good sign for Nick and Malcolm Cantian this afternoon. Who knows? So they're making their way home. I reckon Peter Lacey will be content with letting Chapman go through on the inside here so that the Queenslanders can go across the line together. 1 and 3 in this motor race today. What a performance from them. The trip down south has worked so very beautifully for them. The last corner, the checkered flag will unfold after 2 hours, 37 minutes of racing. Queensland 1, Queensland 3. Ross and Chapman win the Valvoline Wakefield 300 B-Main for 2015. Lacey and Lacey third. That is an almighty run from them, up 10 spots from 13th to third. Second spot very soon will go to Andy Harris. The winning margin, 1 lap, 1 minute from our race leader to our second place man.
Just very quickly, we've still got a battle that's going to come right down to the last lap for positions 4 and 5.
Oh, yeah.
The third in Division 4 because Rodney States closed right up onto the back of Rod Potter and down the inside into the fishhook. He makes the move on the last lap. Can Potter come back? No, he can't. Rodney State has taken 4th outright and 3rd in Division 4 on the very last lap of the Wakefield 300 B-Main.
So he hasn't got to the flag yet. But he will be safe if he negotiates turn 10. Brilliant performance from him, but a brilliant more so performance from Paul Chapman and Tony Ross who win. For 2015, the B-Main. So Mazda MX5 did it last year. Mazda does it again this year. Magnificent. What a reliable car that is at this level of motorsport.
So we'll run you through the final results. Paul Chapman and Tony Ross, your winners. Andy and Russell Harris, second place. Peter and Robin Lacey, third. Paul Chapman and Tony Ross win Division 4. Peter and Robin Lacey win Division 5. Matt Shireman and David Bailey win Division 6. They finish 11th outright. And Adam Dodd and Tony Bonanno win Division 7 in the closing stages. They finish 15th outright.
Now,
so
Targa
Racing do still get a division win. I think they just got overtaken.
Yeah.
In fact, it's going to be 14th outright because Michael Wedge, still in the pits, gets classified as a DNF.
Wow. So Dottie and Bonanno will be absolutely ecstatic with that. That makes me very happy as well, I must admit. But that's a great performance from them, and an even better performance from Paul Chapman and Tony Ross. From pole to the flag, they take the win. And we've got, well, about an hour.
And the winner of the B category for the Wakefield 300, Paul Chapman, just while you take your helmet off, that was a terrific drive, mate. Helmet off if you would, please. Congratulations, you are the winner of the B main of the Wakefield 300. You started from pole. You got lost in the middle of the race, but you came back strong. How do you feel?
Yeah, it's fantastic. The car went great. It's a real credit to Tony, who prepares the car and drove a fantastic first stint. For a guy who's only been running 18 months in racing cars, he's come a long way, and we're showing to be quite a pair to deal with, so it's going well.
And I could be wrong, the statisticians will have to check me on this, but I don't think a car has ever won the Wakefield 300 from pole.
No, I believe you're right, so I'm glad we broke that hoodoo.
So talk me through the final stint. They were trying to track you down out there for a long time.
Yeah, well, as I say, Tony did a great stint. We were looking forward to having a great battle with the Viners at the end, but unfortunately they had some mechanical issues that once we got out and all the pit stops were done, we'd settled back into the lead, and it was just really a matter of coasting the car home and conserving it from there.
This Mazda, it's a tough car to beat.
Yeah, they're a fantastic little car. You can't really beat them. Value for money, reliability, and it's just, as I say, a real credit to Tony who prepares such a great car.
Crossing the finish line, what were the emotions going through your mind?
Yeah, a couple of laps to go. I mean, with those races, you're always sort of wondering about fuel. The gauge is reading empty. We're waiting for the light to come on, but thankfully we had enough and we got home. But just fingers crossed for those last 5 or 10 laps for the fuel.
Well, congratulations, B main Wakefield 300 winners. Well done.
Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.
Number one, kiss the number one, brother.